All right, PB, it is homecoming in Music City, 100 years of Vanderbilt Stadium. But there's plenty of powder blue and red in the stands today at First Bank Stadium as the Ole Miss Rebels, fresh off a win over a top 10 Kentucky team, look for an encore today against the Vanderbilt Commodores. Happy Saturday afternoon from Broadway, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us here on SEC Network. Drew Carter, Matt Stinchcomb upstairs. We'll check in with Alyssa Lang on the field in just a second. And Matt, you heard PB say there that 5-0 for Ole Miss for the first time in a long time. What do you think of the Rebels?
Well, you can't do any better than that, right? 5 games in, 5-0, and the way that they've been able to do it, the resiliency that they've demonstrated. Last 2 times out, 1 possession victories, been able to find a way to get those wins. It's been impressive. They've warranted that top 10 ranking.
And when we think about the Rebels under Lane Kiffin, we think offense, airing it out, but this defense is much improved.
It's totally different when you look at it from a season ago, from a personnel standpoint and a performance standpoint. You're talking about only 11.8 points a game allowed, and that right now is excellent. Good for top 10 in the country. They've been opportunistic, generating takeaways, and they've done it with so many new faces. They've affected the passer, they've been aggressive, they've played downhill. All of that was intentional. Chris Partridge said, we want to be an attacking unit. They have been.
They have been wreaking havoc all season long. This defense has improved every year since Lane Kiffin took over in 2020 with a new defensive coordinator this year and lots of new faces on that unit, but they have meshed well. For more on that, let's go down to Alyssa.
Yeah, guys, you talked about how dominant this unit has been for Ole Miss so far this season. Coaches credit the unselfishness of that side of the ball for why they've been so successful. In fact, defensive coordinator Chris Partridge told us this week that Tysheem Johnson, Isheem Young, and Ladarius Tennyson actually play rock, paper, scissors every single Saturday to figure out who's going to go out there and start the football game. Head coach Lane Kiffin said, yeah, well, I mean, we have these great safeties. We play so fast on offense, it doesn't really matter who starts because every single one of those guys is going to get a ton of plays. So you have 3 guys who start in 2 spots. Well, that's what you need if you're going to go 80 plays. So instead of coach having to choose and maybe ruffling some feathers, they have the guys do it. And hey, they're so unselfish. We'll see, though, in a few minutes who won today's version of rock, paper, scissors when this defense trots out there.
It's amazing stuff, Alyssa. Tennyson has started 4 times, Johnson 3 times, Young 3 times. They've got their hands full today, Stinch, with this dude, Will Shepard, one of the best in the SEC.
No question. You know, big physical guy, a guy that wins those 50-50 throws. Even in the blowout loss, their last time out versus Alabama, a guy that they can go to in the passing game. See if they can get him going early in this contest.
Ole Miss won the toss, elected to receive, so we get to see one of the fastest offenses in the country right out of the blocks. The Alabama transfer, Joseph Bulovas, will kick it away to Dayton Wade. Back to receive for the Rebels. Ole Miss 5-0, ranked in the top 10, trying to pick up a road win and stay perfect this year. Wade fields it at his own goal line, tried to find a seam and got tripped up inside his own 20. Cooper Lutz came flying in to make the stop.
We talked about the Ole Miss rushing attack. We're the best in the country, and they utilize everybody. So look, they're going to use early on fly sweep motion. What this does is it draws the eyes of the defense, and they use the offensive line to lean that defense a certain direction to influence the box players. They want them to go opposite of where the ball ultimately goes. Hand it off. Get upfield right now. Make that defense defend the width of the field.
Jackson Dart is the quarterback. Fakes the give to Zach Evans and now swings it out to the running back. The TCU transfer puts the shoulder down out of bounds near the sticks after a solid gain on first.
You see right out of the gate, effectively back out of the backfield, but also playing the width of the field early on, making that defense work laterally.
Trouble with the snap as that ball is inside the 10. Dart picks it up and throws it away wisely. So it'll be no loss, but there is a flag on the field, and we'll check the penalty.
The quarterback was out of the pocket and threw it beyond the line of scrimmage. There is no intentional grounding. 3rd down.
Kyle Olson heads up our SEC crew.
And Caleb Warren, the center who's back in there as a starter, missed the game last week. Misfire early in this one.
3rd down and 1, back on the ground with Evans. That'll be a 1st down, Ole Miss. How about Jackson Dart in his first year in this system? That was a heady play to get rid of it.
It was smart to get on that football, smart to get it beyond the line of scrimmage. If nothing else, just get out of that negative yardage play.
Spent a year at USC, now the starter at Ole Miss. He completes to the right side to Malik Heath, another transfer from Mississippi State. Jackson Dart took over this job after there was a quarterback competition in the fall. Luke Altmaier actually made a start back in week 2, but Dart, the highly touted recruit out of Southern California, now starting in the SEC. On 2nd down, back on the ground with Evans around the left side, testing that edge. He's got a 1st down, walks out of bounds near midfield.
That's another one of those influence type plays. Ole Miss pulled 2 linemen to the right side of the formation. The ball ends up popping out to the left side. It makes it very difficult for defenses to diagnose their run defense. It looks as if it's heading to one direction, and then ball ends up popping out the opposite.
Dart to throw on 1st down. Looking left, throws left, completes. Jonathan Mingo, their top returning receiver this year, met by a swarm of Commodores into Vanderbilt territory.
Mingo, the 2nd most targeted receiver in this offense, and he's the deep threat. Averages 20 yards a reception. He's got the attention of the Vanderbilt coaching staff.
And before the snap, a flag comes in. False start against the Rebels.
I'm not sure that everybody was ready.
Start, offense, number 71, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's the true freshman Jaden Williams playing left tackle. They love that kid.
And he's just a little bit early. See him leaning inside. He's pulling your left tackle there. Once again, an RPO type look. Ball could have popped out to the right. Instead, a procedure.
Evans finds a seam up the middle, plants his foot, picks up a 1st down, Ole Miss. And this is what we've seen, Stinch, all year. They can run the ball. That's their strength.
Yeah, one of their best concepts. It's a simple one. It's just inside zone. Nice hole there to the right side.
Again, it's Evans. Not tired just yet. This time he stumbles on the turf just inside the 40. Anthony Orji, the top tackler for Vanderbilt, comes in to make the stop.
And that time really well diagnosed by Anthony Orji. See number 0. They like to just let him run and play. Doesn't spend a whole lot of time working on alignment or getting guys set. They want him to be a playmaker.
We get our first look at Quinshawn Judkins, the freshman running back. They fake it to him and throw a dart over the middle. That is caught by Jordan Watkins. The Louisville transfer takes it inside the red zone on this opening drive.
And look how quickly Watkins pops up and goes and literally spots the ball for the center judge. Matched up with Ethan Barr in coverage. That ball spinning right over the outstretched hand of Barr. Watkins pops up so his offense could get over, but now, as you see, a late substitution for Vanderbilt defensively, but that's something that Ole Miss does. Coached up these receivers. Watkins popped up and literally put that ball on the hash for the center judge.
They've got it down to a science, averaging 27.5 seconds per play, 4th fastest in the country. Dart swings it out. Watkins again. 2 catches in a row. Last one went for 23. This is right near the marker on 1st down.
And just too easy. Not a defender really in the vicinity. Easy pitch and catch for Watkins. You can see now a platoon substitution for Vanderbilt. Ole Miss makes a quick substitution near their sideline.
It's a whole crew of Commodores coming on. 3 minutes in here, 2nd down and 1. Ole Miss inside the 10. They do give it to the star freshman Judkins, who got stacked up for no gain. Flag comes in behind the play as Nate Clifton was in there first.
Holding, offense, number 0, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Yeah, so they're going to pop Michael Trigg here. Watch him coming all the way across. They're going to get him for holding. So you want your head inside. Look at him. He ends up just wrapping him up. It's an easy call. A negative yardage play regardless. And now, of course, with the penalty, backs up the offense even further. You know, Trigg, excellent receiver, but it's his run blocking that they've emphasized.
Another USC transfer as Dart gives it to Judkins. Shed 1 tackle, and then Clifton wrapped him up again to set up 3rd down and long.
That's a couple of really nice plays back-to-back by Clifton. You know, got held on the previous one either way and made the play, and then once again gets upfield. Not a lot of negative yardage plays for this Ole Miss offense.
3rd down and 11. Dart with time. Throws left side. It's high for Mingo, who caught it, but he's out of bounds. Incomplete, and Vanderbilt forces 4th down on the opening possession.
And you see Vanderbilt heating up Jackson Dart, and that's something that we'll likely see all afternoon. Bringing 4, and then the 5th rusher coming in just off the screen from the boundary side. That's something the defensive coordinator Nick Howell is going to do, I think, probably all afternoon, as you see Mingo come down, makes the catch, but out of bounds to force this field goal attempt.
It sets up a 35-yard attempt for Jonathan Cruz, the transfer from Charlotte, who was 2 for 2 last week in the win over Kentucky. And that's a low liner. That is true. We got a flag on the field, so we'll check the penalty before putting the 3 on the board for the Rebels. Again, an SEC crew led by Kyle Olson.
The result of the play is the kick is good. After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, kicking team number 57. That 15-yard penalty been forced on the kickoff.
That's Micah Pettis, the freshman offensive lineman out of Madison, Alabama, near Huntsville. So good field position coming up here for the Vandy offense.
Yeah, a little bit of sloppy decision making. You know, you look at Michael Pettis over there saying, I don't know what you're talking about. Saw the flag come out, but nobody's ever guilty. And as we saw there, you know, the penalty defrays the tempo that Ole Miss was able to generate. Oh, yeah, and you see him. He's just grabbing Michael Owusu's leg, and then he tells him about it a little bit. Owusu knew what was up. Officials all over it. Owusu was just trying to elevate. Pettis just grabbed that leg and dumped him. You can do that when you're wrestling in the backyard. They won't let you to do it out here.
I think I've seen Ric Flair do that move a few times.
Yeah, the atomic leg drop. Maybe a chop right across the chest. You see, just to open up the game, 13 plays, 64 yards. Didn't eat a ton of clock because of their urgency offensively. But perhaps a little bit of frustration. You know, you get it into the red zone, only to concede ground to go backwards, and ultimately a field goal attempt.
Yeah, 3:39 is a pretty deliberate drive by Ole Miss standards. They average 2 minutes and 2 seconds, the shortest in the SEC. Time of possession is not their indicator of success. Cruz will kick it off to Jaden McGowan and Rocco Griffin back for Vanderbilt. After the 15-yard penalty, McGowan fields it at his own 20-yard line, finds some room near the 40. So for A.J. Swan in this Vanderbilt offense, a great setup on their opening possession.
The penalty's huge, right? To start this football game near midfield. Opportunities for sure. A.J. Swan, of course, now making his 3rd start. First start was versus Northern Illinois, and then a couple of weeks ago versus Alabama. Came in relief in that Wake Forest game and led a couple of scoring drives. Then built on that performance the following week versus Northern Illinois after opening up that quarterback competition in practice prior to the game versus the Huskies.
Prized recruit out of White, Georgia, small town outside of Atlanta. They start on the ground with Ray Davis, their top rusher, and in the top 5 in the SEC. He puts the shoulder down right on top of the V at midfield, near first down yardage as A.J. Finley was in there on the tackle.
A really tough run by Ray Davis. That penetration right in the middle of the offensive front. Davis did a good job keeping those legs churning. You see those yards per attempt, 2nd. Highly efficient runner. A guy that gets a lot of touches in this offense. They've got a ton of respect for how he can contribute to this offensive unit.
Averaging over 80 yards a game on the ground. And he picked up first down on Vandy's first play. Swan to throw. They love this, out to Will Shepherd, and that's broken up. Dangerous throw from the freshman DeAndre Prince, number 7 on the coverage.
Wanted to go to Shepherd all the way on this one. As soon as he receives the snap, the ball comes out. Ball's underthrown. This is a 50-50 ball that Will Shepherd can win, but he actually became the defensive back on this play. DeAndre Prince underneath that route all the way. Vanderbilt lucky to retain possession.
Chris Partridge Partridge told us if they're going to shadow Shepard, it will be Prince. And it looks like that's what they're doing here. You see him at the top of your screen. Back to Davis, right up the gut. And he runs hard for a solid gain on second down. Finley again on the tackle.
Nice finish by that left side of the offensive front. Good push initially. Ray Davis, he's a really decisive runner. You know, this is a guy, he's got enough speed, but the way he runs between the tackles, he sees where he wants to get. He's got really good vision, but he's decisive. Got right here a chance to keep this ball on the ground. Maybe they're thinking already 4-down territory versus an offense that can put up points quickly.
Again, it's Davis, and he's tripped up near the line of scrimmage. Ladarius Tennyson, the Auburn transfer, was in there first from his safety position to set up 4th down.
You blow that fly sweep motion through the backfield. See if you can get the second level to lean. Didn't matter. As Ladarius Tennyson triggers from the edge. Watch him run this ball down. Almost immediately. You see, that one was dead in the water. Otis Reese as well, awaiting Ray Sanders before he could even get to the line of scrimmage. And yeah, they had already predetermined 4-down territory with that play call.
4th down and 2. They get the snap off. They throw to the right side, and Shepard, who fights his way free and makes the catch. Will Shepard looking like a man amongst boys. 1st down, Vandy.
We talked to defensive coordinator Chris Partridge. This is what they were sweating. Letting them play. Both those guys battling. Will Shepard able to get the separation and then come back. You see Prince saying he shoved off of me. Well, look, Prince was engaged as well. Both those guys, they almost look like an offensive tackle and a defensive end downfield.
Shepard's got 7 receiving touchdowns this year, tops in the SEC. Back to Davis on the ground. Picks his way forward for a gain of about 5 on 1st down, and the Commodores are moving in Stinch. When these two met up last year, it was a 31-17 win for Ole Miss. But as you say, a little deceiving. Vandy went over 450 yards of offense in that game.
Yeah, it was really one of those performances, maybe one of their best performances a season ago for Clark Lee. He's been really encouraged by the way his team has responded this season. Of course, Lane Kiffin, he recognizes they can put up points quickly, but an impressive drive so far for the Vandy offense was second and manageable.
This is dangerous. McGowan is the motion man, and the true freshman has tons of speed and wiggle, and he's twisted down inside the 10. Tysheem Johnson finally brought him down after a gain of 11. 1st and goal Doors.
So you showed this motion a couple of times. Now you give it to him. Tap pass, double clutched that catch, which it'll be recorded as in the stats. They talked about McGowan. We can't give him enough touches, and mentally he can handle it. This guy's an explosive playmaker for this offense, but you allow the defense to see that fly sweep motion a couple of different times. A tap pass catches him maybe a little bit flat-footed, having seen it already early in this game.
Now the motion man is Quincy Skinner, back from injury. Swan gives it to Davis. Short gain on 1st and goal, but inside the 5 midway through this 1st quarter.
And defensively for Ole Miss, they need a negative yardage play. They got to stop the momentum, because right now Vanderbilt, they're leaning on this defensive front now. It's almost like the field has tilted towards the end zone. Get this thing slowed down if they can. Really, so far, the Vanderbilt offensive front has done an excellent job of getting push at the point of attack.
And they've already given it to Davis 6 times on this opening drive. Again, Skinner moves. Swan in the option to the left, keeps it, and he just cuts his losses right outside the 5.
Well defended by Ole Miss. Did a great job. Troy Brown, the transfer from Central Michigan, comes up, and you see maybe not a comfort zone for Swan. Brown's been ultimately one of the most prolific tacklers in this defense. It'd be interesting to see now. Will they think already 4-down territory? Do you try to get it inched towards the end zone, or do you look for Will Shepard here?
Vandy has scored a touchdown on 15 of 17 red zone trips this year. Swan throws, broken up. Tennyson in there again.
They tried to sneak it in there to Ray Davis. And Will Shepard at the top of the formation, and instead tried to stab one in there. And it was Tennyson who ends up making the play here. Here's Tennyson lined up defensively, and watch. He ends up coming off. You see they were trying to rub him off right there. Ben Bresnahan trying to push Tennyson back into the end zone.
23-yard attempt from Bulovis is good. He's been 1 for 1 and now 4 consecutive games. And a little extra chirping here at homecoming at First Bank Stadium. We're in the Music City. You know who else is in the Music City? A lot of Ole Miss fans. It is homecoming here at First Bank Stadium. We were told the allotment for Ole Miss tickets has been sold out. You look at the right side of your screen right now, that is surely the case. There is a ton of powder blue and red on that side of the field, even though it is Vandy's reunion week and homecoming. Joseph Bulovis kicks it away for Vanderbilt after their 11-play field goal drive. Jalen Robinson will take it out, and the UCF transfer has a hole with a flag on the field, pushed out of bounds by the kicker Bulovis. Great field position for now. Let's check the call from Kyle Olson.
During the return, holding, receiving team, number 44. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Give that to John Porchavina. And wipes out a great return from Jalen Robinson for Lane Kiffin's team. Coach Kiffin just went to 20 wins last week at Ole Miss.
Take another look at it. Watch this at the end. Bulovis trying to kick his way into a tackle. Watch him gets the stiff arm. Watch him throw that leg out there. The attempted trip. He whiffed. I think if he gets that done, another flag comes out.
He tried to do it with his left foot. That was the problem.
That's what it was.
The
His
right
off foot.
Yeah, it's the
off
dominant
foot.
foot.
You got to be careful with that one.
Quinshawn Judkins, the running back next to Jackson Dart. And they keep it on the jet sweep here with Jalen Robinson. They call him Flash. He's back after missing a couple of weeks with injury, and that one was going nowhere.
A similar concept. We've seen this about 3 times now. You've got pulls going the opposite direction. Vanderbilt, the last 2 times that they've seen this similar run concept, it's been well defended.
You just saw 23 Jalen Mahoney also back after missing their last game against Alabama a couple weeks ago as Judkins burrows his way forward to set up 3rd down and manageable.
They're so high on Judkins even going back to the spring. This guy has been incredibly productive. A thick back. Early 3rd down, a big 3rd down. They have not gone for it on 4th down nearly as much this season.
3rd and 4. Dart throws a missile to the left side. Mingo has it. Where do they spot him? That's the question. They need about the 26, and they'll move the chains. 1st down, Ole Miss.
Nice tackle. Kept him in front of him that time. Thought maybe they would have measured for that one.
10 minutes into the 1st quarter, Dart throws after faking it to Judkins, and it's broken up nicely by DeRicky Wright, 43 in black and gold, playing that anchor position against Jalen Robinson.
That is a big body in the secondary. When you look at DeRicky Wright, he's every bit of 6'4", 230 pounds. I mean, that is a long individual to be back there in the secondary. Great job breaking on that one.
This time it's Judkins with the stiff arm, and he's wrestled down. There's Orji, their leading tackler for 3 years running to set up 3rd and long.
And so far, Vanderbilt has demonstrated excellent tackling, especially in the open field.
Orji, the top tackler in the SEC this year, over 10 per game. He's made a couple already. 3rd down again for Ole Miss. Dart, Vanderbilt brings the heat, flushes him out. Mingo's wide open on the crosser. 1st down and more for the Rebels out near the 45-yard line.
Watch Mingo come all the way across, unaccounted for in the coverage. Got both linebackers dropping back, eyes in the backfield. They run the football a lot.
After the gain of 16, right back to Judkins on 1st down.
That's the challenge. You face Ole Miss. They are so run-oriented. And when I say that, that includes 3rd and 4 plus. 3rd and 4 or more yards to go. They're still running it 40% of the time.
Dart steps up, throws to the running back Judkins. First down, Ole Miss. Dangerous in space and tough to bring down as the true freshman brings it inside the 40.
Dart didn't have anything downfield. Nice pressure, actually, right in his face. Had to flush up in that pocket. Did a good job of finding his safety valve in Judkins.
Gain of 14. Judkins still in there. Dart throws to the slot. Caught again by the transfer Watkins. He's been busy in this first quarter as Ole Miss wasting no time on that tempo.
Yeah, quick to get the ball out. Quick to trigger, though, by DeRicky Wright again. He's going to have to be incredibly active. We talk about the open field tackling. Coming into this game, Vanderbilt, lower half of the conference in missed tackles. They can't afford that. Too many yards to be had in space and runs after catch in this Ole Miss offense.
Judkins gets a breather. Zach Evans is the running back next to Dart. And he gets the call. Couple yards on second down. Let's go down to Alyssa.
Quick update, I just watched Ole Miss wide receiver Jalen Robinson go into the injury tent. Appears that they were working on his leg, but I'm standing right next to it, so I'll keep you guys updated.
All right, Alyssa, would be a big loss for Ole Miss as Evans is going nowhere. Stood up by Ethan Barr. He plugged up that hole in a hurry.
So watch these two linebackers. They're going to stunt right here in these A gaps. They do a great job of charging the line. Ethan Barr comes clean. Great job. Tackle for loss on the short yardage.
Fourth down, Ole Miss is going for it. Dart keeps it. Throws on the rollout, incomplete. He was trying to find the tight end. Casey Kelly went off his mitts, and it's Vanderbilt football. The black and gold is feeling it on homecoming. The lane train rolls the dice and comes up empty-handed. Vanderbilt. Ole Miss turns it over on downs on their second possession, giving it back to Vanderbilt. You see Jackson Dart, who has won the starting quarterback job for the Rebels after a couple of weeks. Vanderbilt had a quarterback competition of its own coming into the season. Mike Wright won it initially, but after a couple games, that man, A.J. Swan, the true freshman prized recruit, took over, and he is still the starting quarterback for Clark Lee's team. There's Wright, a guy we might see in a different capacity. He's a great athlete.
Yeah, really explosive as a runner. Generated a lot of big plays early on. You see A.J. Swan, a little bit of different competition that he's faced, of course. Last couple of outings for him. Mike Wright, a costly interception versus Wake Forest, a pick six, a fumble later on, both led to touchdowns. And what could have been a more closely contested game versus a ranked team.
On first down and 10, Swan gives it to Ray Davis, who had 6 carries on the opening possession. And just to wrap up on Wright, Stan, she had 10 total touchdowns in their first 2 games against Hawaii and Elon. 2 through the air and 2 on the ground in each of the first 2 games. 5th guy since '96 to do that in the FBS. Dante Culpepper, Josh Freeman, Colin Kaepernick, and C.J. Brown of Maryland. Pretty good company.
Yeah, there's a couple of household names on that list. They said the offense was too up and down, though, too boom and bust, and you could see that. They needed to be more proficient on third down, more comfortable passing.
Swan back to Davis, who lowers the shoulder again. That seems to be his go-to move as they push the pile, and he keeps the legs churning for a first down.
I'll tell you, the push, I mean, they dent the Ole Miss front. Not only capture the edge, but do a great job. That's a clean insert for Ray Davis to get downfield. Watch, keep your eyes over here. See these guys? Look at this hole that ends up opening up. You displace the Ole Miss Rebel defender so far. There's a huge hole to insert, and then watch this leg drive afterwards. You got your buddies showing up. You don't just push the defensive lineman. Hey, push your ball carrier once that scrum starts.
Under a minute in the first quarter. Swan to throw, looking left, wide open man. Nice open field tackle as McGowan had it, and he is shifty and fast. Troy Brown, the CMU transfer, on the stop after 4.
You know, Vandy running the football pretty proficiently early in this game. They were trying to go for a play-action shot downfield. Really well defended by Ole Miss. A good job, smart decision that time by Swan. Check it down, pick up some positive yards. Just because you call a shot doesn't mean you take a shot.
Could be the last play of the first quarter coming up here for Vanderbilt. And it's Davis who gets the call and bounces it to the left side, shows off the speed, got the edge for a second as Brown came in there for another stop for Ole Miss.
You know, Davis that time really doing all the work because there was no hole. We talk about the clean insert on the earlier drive, on the earlier run rather, 2 snaps ago, but so far Vanderbilt establishing that run game, and boy, that was a quick first quarter with all these runs.
These fans are going to be at Tootsie's in a couple hours at this rate. 3-3 after 15 minutes. Vanderbilt with the rock right at midfield as we start the second. Welcome back to Nashville, and coming up at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central after our game here. Number 13 Kentucky trying to bounce back from the loss against these Rebels, hosting South Carolina in our SEC Saturday night matchup. It's also available on the ESPN app. Will Levis, a game time decision for that one with a foot injury, somehow not with a finger injury after it was going the wrong direction in that game last week. A.J. Swan, the quarterback for Vanderbilt, on 3rd down and 4, throws on the run and completes to Will Sheppard. What a play and what a pitch and catch.
How about the chemistry those two guys have developed? Although I got to tell you, maybe anybody would have it with Will Sheppard. Sheppard started in the slot. Watch him come back. Sees his quarterback scrambling. That's what you do in the scramble drill. If you're deep, you come shallow. If you're shallow, you break deep. That time, A.J. Swan, under duress, bought time, kept his eyes downfield, found his sure-handed target in Will Sheppard.
2 tight ends, both in motion for Vandy on 1st down, putting together another impressive drive here after their opening one went 11 plays. Here's Ray Davis again, who carries the mail on the ground, picks up 5 on 1st down.
Yeah, the ground game right now, excellent for Vanderbilt. Pacing this offense. 1st down proficiency, they're able to get ahead in the chains, allows them to stay on schedule. And by that I mean you don't get a negative yardage or 0 yardage play early on in the possession. Opens things up for offensive coordinator Joey Lynch. Call more opportunities, more plays now on the plus side of the field on a 2nd and manageable.
Second and 5. Swan throws, sets up the screen to McGowan, and look out for the true freshman. He's got speed down the sideline, cuts back near the goal line, and scores. Touchdown Vanderbilt. Jaden McGowan showing the talent.
Let's see if he gets it across. Got that ball in his left arm. The right knee is down. It's hard to tell from that angle where the ball is when his right knee would have established him down. Well, you can see what they like in McGowan. He's had a quick little shake at the point of catch. Now watch.
On the field of a touchdown.
He might be just shy because he had that ball. He had it in the right arm. You have it in your outside arm, but because of that, the ball may be just shy of the end zone. Cuts back inside. And because he's got it in that left arm, see his right knee establish him down. I think he might be just shy of the goal line.
Shawnee Sistrunk made a potentially touchdown-saving tackle. As of now, it's a 36-yard score, but I'm with you, partner. He might be a foot short, 6 inches.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Drew, looking at it again this last time, it looked like he had that ball in his left arm, but it was more across his torso than I thought. So it might have been further upfield than I gave it credit for when his knee would have established him down.
Called a touchdown on the field. Stan Murray is our replay official today in Nashville. How about McGowan, though? One move and he's gone.
Yeah, look at that formation, right? So we talked about the efficiency on 1st down. You get it about 2nd and 5. and you get this heavy formation, right? Everybody's bunched up in the middle, and then you flip the ball out to your playmaker in space. He's got one guy to beat effectively. Did a great job. Just get that defender to stop his feet and then break outside. We talked to Joey Lynch yesterday. Man, the kid can do a lot.
After video review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I mean, there wasn't really a conclusive look given the fact it has to be indisputable that in that instance, the ball carrier was shy of the goal line, and having it ruled a touchdown on the field, there wasn't a down-the-line look to establish it otherwise.
So look at this. Vanderbilt leads early second quarter, as we all anticipated.
This easily could be a two-score game. You think about they're throwing in the end zone before the field goal.
Bulovas out for the PAT, and that is good. So 10-3 Vanderbilt, about a minute and a half in, and Clark Lee's team leads by a touchdown thanks to their talented freshman.
They talk about getting the ball into their playmakers. It's not just Will Shepherd. How about this McGowan kid? Touchdown, Commodores.
All right, okay, in studio, we update Georgia. Auburn scoreless after one, and then after an Auburn attempted fake punt did not work, Georgia had a short field 36-yard drive, ends with a Kenny McIntosh touchdown. Then Auburn loses 1 yard on the next 3 plays, punts it. Georgia then drives down the field. Dejon Edwards into the end zone, 14-0 Dogs.
All right, fellas, between Matt Stinchcomb and Aaron Murray, I've seen too much Georgia talk in the booth at different SEC stadiums as Dayton Wade takes it out to the 20-yard line for Ole Miss. Down 7 against Vanderbilt. How about Tennessee today, partner? They're playing Rocky Top 1 second into the game in Baton Rouge.
Not ideal. You got an LSU team that can't afford to be spotting any team points. And they did it repeatedly. I mean, just a mistake-filled, really, first half. Go for it on 4th down, deep in the territory. Could have kicked a field goal. I get that you feel scoring pressure, but quite a few decisions early on in that game that could have gone the other way.
Jackson Dart to throw on the first play of a new drive. Loads it up, thought about it, keeps it, evades the rush. Here goes Jackson Dart. That's intercepted. It's to Ricky Wright. Had it put on a silver platter, and that's exactly what they did not want to see from Jackson Dart. Another costly mistake sets up Vandy in Ole Miss territory.
It's almost like he had too much time to think about it. You force him into a mistake. And really, Dart's done a pretty good job of protecting the football since he's been named the starter. Too much time. And so he's thinking, all right, now I got to try to make a play. This has never had a chance. You've got 2 receivers standing on top of each other. And watch this shot late. Yeah, Ethan Barr. That's ill-advised, to say the least.
Knocked his helmet off almost.
Ball is out of Jackson Dart's hands. And penalty was an ineligible receiver downfield. Oftentimes happens with that long scramble. You're thinking eventually quarterback just pick up some positive yards. Jackson Dart is not Matt Corral as a runner, but he's a pretty good runner. Tuck it and run it. Maintain possession. Instead, you forfeit it back to your opponent at midfield.
His 4th interception of the year sets up Vanderbilt in golden field position, and A.J. Swan completes to Gamarion Carter on 1st down.
That's one of the things. You think about that opening drive. Led to a field goal. Could have been a touchdown easily for the Doors. It was a short field. Why? Because of a personal foul after a field goal attempt. Sets up an excellent return. You get a short field, and now the Commodores in plus territory after 1 snap. Can they take advantage of this field position?
Ole Miss trailing for just the 2nd time this season. They were down 14-7 against Tulsa in the first half as Swan completes again, finds the tight end Ben Bresnahan, who brings it inside the 20. DeAndre Prince on the tackle, but the Doors are moving again.
Bresnahan left side of the formation. Look at him, just right over the football. Now they'll come back to that formation for sure. Ray Davis, who ended up breaking out in the flats, was completely by himself. Opportunity there for Vanderbilt to come back to that formation and concept and take advantage of that.
2 running backs for Vanderbilt. They don't give it to either one as Swan throws. Tight coverage from Davison Igbinosun on Carter. You surprised no flag there? The fans certainly are.
Yeah, that ball was underthrown and wasn't just back shoulder underthrown. Look at this thing dropping. I mean, it's at the receiver's feet. Now, they've allowed them to play. You think about the Will Shepherd reception on the field goal drive. And they're allowing, but both of the receivers and the defensive back, they're fighting for that football. Okay with the no flag there. You want that ball up and inside. Give your receiver a chance to make the play.
2 tight ends again for Vanderbilt as they run it with Ray Davis. He takes it inside the 20 for a gain of 4 to set up 3rd down and 6.
You see a couple of those 2-back looks from Vanderbilt. That's a changeup in today's football. Vandy lives in that shotgun like most offenses do. But 2 backs is different. You know, often you see all these 1-back, 1 tight end looks. That's a curveball for the defense. Vanderbilt here with an opportunity, a bunch set here at the bottom of the screen.
Third down and long for Swan. The pressure was on. The throw is deflected and incomplete in the end zone. Isheem Young, the Iowa State transfer, came soaring in. Cedric Johnson applied the pressure off the edge.
Yeah, Cedric Johnson, and watch him. He'll be working inside. Both these guys, they're going to end up coming upfield. Watch him do a great job of collapsing this pocket. It's just a straight rush. Cedric Johnson wins right now. Forces the throw, didn't have enough on it. Bresnahan maybe had a shot at it.
Joseph Bulovas was good from 23 earlier. This one from 34 is drawing between the uprights and good. 13-3 Vanderbilt. We might have a situation unfolding in the Music City.
Back here in Nashville, Tennessee, the Vanderbilt Commodores with a 13-3 lead over the Ole Miss Rebels. Hey, they were really excited about this game today, guys. We were walking through the tailgate lots, and we came across a very exciting tailgate. Head basketball coach Jerry Stackhouse was out among the people giving out T-shirts, the Stackhouse Vanderbilt family tailgate. I mean, this is how you know Coach Stack is a cool dude. You only get your T-shirt, your own T-shirt, when you're a cool guy. He's out there grilling up some chicken legs, some ribs, and guys, he was in the smoker on the grill, like doing the dirty work out there, getting to know these fans and getting them hyped for basketball.
All right, Alyssa, kickoff out of bounds. Ole Miss will have great field position. That is, I think, the first time I've ever seen Jerry Stackhouse not in a suit. He's an OG. He still wears a suit on the sideline. Polo's a good look for him, though.
Yeah, you're standing over a grill. So, yeah, it's also, you know, it's a fire risk. You can't have that tide dripping over the grill. Next thing you know, that thing's on fire. Nothing ruins a cookout quicker than third-degree burns on the cook.
Speaking of apparel, I don't know what I'm more jealous of, the T-shirt or the shades on Alyssa Lang.
It's bright down here, guys.
Yeah.
Bright like Coach Stackhouse at Vandy's future.
Very nice.
As we look ahead to basketball season.
Wow.
Very well played. Ole Miss back to work on offense. Zach Evans, the TCU transfer, runs into a wall of Commodores for a gain of 1 on first down. And Vanderbilt leading by 10 here. They have lost 22 consecutive SEC games going back to 2019. Trying to shock the world. Dart complete to Malik Heath, the Mississippi State transfer who finds no room to run. Jeremy Lucien in there on the stop.
They have not been able to get the ground game going on the inside, so he spit it out there quickly, and Lucien, the guy that they were looking to get more reps in, just weren't rotating him enough into the lineup. A UConn transfer, another sure tackle upfield.
3rd down and 6. Dart pumps, throws, completes. Watkins, the C's part for the Louisville transfer. There goes 11. Touchdown, Ole Miss. "61 yards to the crib, just what the doctor ordered for the reps."
He lined up in the backfield. Jalen Watkins was lined up started him out in the offensive backfield, gets lost in the coverage. That's twice now where we've seen Vanderbilt in coverage. This time in the most costly of ways. Before, cost him some yardage. This time, costing him points.
Jonathan Cruz adds the extra point. And a bust defensively for Vanderbilt. Gets Ole Miss right back in this one, Stinch.
Yeah, right when you see the momentum swinging one way, Ole Miss with an explosive play in the passing game, and the Rebs chewing away at that lead.
Homecoming here at First Bank Stadium in Nashville, and just when the Commodores fans started to think, do we have a shot at this against a top 10 Ole Miss team, the Rebels come back with a 61-yard receiving touchdown to quiet the Vandy fans and get the Rebels fans, of which there are plenty here in the Music City, fired up. 3 plays, 65 yards, quick strike touchdown, makes it 13-10 Vanderbilt. Drew Carter, Matt Stinchcomb, Alyssa Lang back with you on a beautiful Saturday afternoon in Nash Vegas. Jonathan Cruz will kick it away for the Rebs. Jaden McGowan, the freshman, lets it bounce through the end zone. Stinch, how did this happen?
Well, you got Jordan Watkins, and they line him up in the offensive backfield, and he gets lost. What he ends up doing is just encircling this bunch, and he gets lost in the coverage. They'll switch the route. See the 2 receivers? Clears everything out. Watkins is unaccounted for in the coverage. Even Derricky Wright was working over to the left side from his safety position. Opened up the middle of the field. Just too easy for Watkins. They just kind of hit him by formation there in the offensive backfield.
Watkins with 4 catches for 97 yards and a score. Give a lot of credit to Lane Kiffin and the OC Charlie Weiss Jr. for dialing that one up. A.J. Swan back to work for Vanderbilt, and Ray Davis got chopped down in a hurry. Otis Reese, the safety, came flying off the edge.
Otis Reese and Ladarius Tennyson kind of reminiscent of the short yardage play we saw earlier. Vanderbilt's done a great job of handling the core defenders, tackle to tackle. So what Ole Miss has done on a couple of occasions is encircle the blocking scheme. They're not accounted for off the edges, and they run down the ball carrier from behind. You end up trail tackling that guy before he even gets to the line of scrimmage.
Patrick Smith, the running back, in there next to Swan. You see the Land Sharks circling. Just over 5 minutes into the second quarter. Will Shepard, the motion man, 3 seconds on the timer. Swan looks that way. It is Shepard, and what a grab by 14.
Just so sure-handed. You know, obviously a guy that they're going to look to repeatedly. Not as efficient on that first down play, so crucial that they picked up positive yardage here. Look at Shepard, nice awareness. Those hands, man. I don't know how big they are, but they look big from up here. He does a great job bringing that ball in and knowing where he is along the boundary.
Joey Lynch, the offensive coordinator, said, impressed but not surprised by Will Shepard's outstanding production to start the year.
There's Shepard, short motion with DeAndre Prince in coverage.
On 3rd and 7, Swan, the freshman, throws. There's Shepard again. First down, Doors. Took the hit, held out of the ball. DeAndre Prince could not jog it free.
So they go to stack. That way he can't get jammed at the line of scrimmage, gets a free release, makes it all the way across the formation. Swan with time. Great job with the protection. Ole Miss has been excellent in affecting the passer all season. Not there, and Mike Wright in there now at quarterback.
Check this out, Stinch. That's Swan behind him, who swings out in the fake option. Wright keeps it. Our first look at 5 in black and gold today, picks up 4.
Well, you had to think, and in speaking with the coaches, they would have a package for Mike Wright, a tremendous athlete. As you see Wright in there now, he's calling the play in this huddle. A.J. Swan still out there on the field. And check that. He's all the way at the top of the screen is A.J. Swan. Here's Swan, your usual quarterback.
Movement pre-snap. Couple of Rebels in the neutral zone. 3 flags are out there.
So how about that? You get Mike Wright in there, take a couple of direct snaps, and then you get him with the dummy cadence. Pick up a free 5 yards.
Offside, defense, number 97, entering the neutral zone, causing the offensive player to react. That's a 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
That's Jamon Gordon, the junior out of Mississippi.
Get him with the dummy clap. Ends up coming into the neutral zone. Now Mike Wright, a couple of snaps, and stays in there again. Similar formation now. Swan again, right in here at quarterback. Swan all the way up here at the top of your screen.
Davis in motion. Wright finds him. Could be a trick play on the backward pass. Back to right, and that's incomplete. And there's a flag, and Ray Davis was in pain on the turf for a second, but there's a flag right where he got lit up after throwing the pass.
Yeah, that was well defended from the get-go. Trying to make it look as if they're trying to set a screen or a double pass to the right side.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 1, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So Sheem Young, you ever seen that on a trick play, roughing the passer?
Especially on a lateral, right?
Right.
So you see Davis come back here. This is a backwards pass, lateral. He ends up checking up to throw this football. You see the ball's out. I could see an unnecessary roughness there. Bam. 3 steps. A free first down. You talk about it's well defended on a trick play. You had 3 plays in a row there where your defense is somewhat caught off guard. But you run through a player after the ball's been released for 3 steps. Just not necessary.
The first pass was backwards. The second was forward.
I think Lane Kiffin wondering, can it be roughing the passer on second pass? But the first one, as Kyle Olson, was backward. So Ray Davis pays the price, draws the first down for Vanderbilt inside the Ole Miss 35. Wright is back in there at quarterback. Motion man's McGowan, who scored earlier. Wright keeps it on the option. Mike Wright found a sliver and dives ahead inside the 30. DeAndre Prince and Cedric Johnson teamed up on the stop.
Now, how about this, though, right? So now Mike Wright subs back out, but clearly catching the Ole Miss defense on its heels. A wrinkle that was not anticipated, and Mike Wright, we talked about it earlier, that transition to quarterback, it wasn't as if he was ineffective in those first opening games. It was the Wake Forest game before they made the decision to go with A.J. Swan.
Clark Lee says we have an earn it every day mindset. As Swan's back in there on 2nd and 4. Davis finds the edge and finds room with a flag near the middle of the line. That is a first down, Vandy, for now near the 20.
Holding, offense, number 71. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, second down.
Gage Pitchford, the sophomore out of Georgia, who started at left guard at Bama in their last game.
Yeah, so watch Pitchford. He's right here, and he's going to climb up on Troy Brown. Watch Troy Brown does a good job of undercutting this block, and Pitchford just kind of panics. Doesn't need to do that. You don't have to do it. If the guy wants to run underneath your block on an outside run, let him do it. He's going to have to get on his horse to make the play. Instead, it backs your offense up.
First Vanderbilt penalty of the day compared to 6 for Ole Miss. Swan wants to set up the screen. Broken play. The freshman has to improvise. He got crunched but completed the pass to Davis. The running back brings it in inside the 20. There is a flag all the way back near midfield. For now, it's an 18-yard gain.
Yeah, they're going to end up getting, I think, another ineligible receiver downfield. I think it's going to be Gage Pitchford again.
There are multiple fouls in the play. Ineligible man downfield, offense, number 71. Holding, defense, gets an eligible receiver. Those fouls offset, second down.
Well, you called it, Drew. They were trying to set up the screen, and the hard part is, so watch these guys. They end up trying to leak over to the right, and you mentioned it. Instead, you end up holding on an eligible receiver. So here's the holding, but here are the two guys that are downfield. So you have those two penalties. They couldn't dump it off because your intended receiver is getting held, but meanwhile, the big boys, the escort, they're heading downfield looking for work, except the ball hadn't come out yet.
That ever happened to you at Georgia? You get caught downfield?
No, you have to hustle for that to happen.
Ray Davis back to work on the ground. On second down, it'll set up third down and long for Vanderbilt.
You know, a clean game, as you mentioned earlier, for Vanderbilt. Now just a spate of penalties here. Kind of muddied up this possession. Third and long. We talked about how well this offense has executed on early downs. Stay out of third and obvious. Ole Miss, an excellent pressure team, came into this game with 16 sacks. Good for second in the conference so far this season.
It would be about a 50-yard field goal from here as the play clock's at 3. Swan to throw. Over the middle, complete. Near the sticks, that's Carter. 83 in black and gold, and that's enough for a first down, Commodores.
A clutch throw right on time, puts it right on his numbers. Nice protection. Look how clean this pocket is. The body's dropping behind the quarterback, can step into the throw, deliver a strike, and a conversion. Big third down conversion for a Vanderbilt offense.
How about Gamarion Carter? Came in with 1 catch all year. Now he's got 2, and that last one was a big one. 2 in the game as we approach 5 minutes to play until halftime. A.J. Swan and Vanderbilt moving again. Davis up the middle, stayed up for a second. Troy Brown, the linebacker, was in there first. Tavius Robinson eventually wrestled him down.
Yeah, good job by Swan fielding that snap. That was a high fastball, and when you're looking for a quick hitter downhill, not only do you have to field it, but then you got to turn and get that ball handed off to Ray Davis. And as you mentioned, good job by Davis to pick up positive yardage. There was not a lot of room at the point of attack.
Usually Vandy fans like high fastballs. Kamar Rocker, Jack Leiter, Kyle Wright. Take your pick. Just across the way from Hawkins Field here. This will be a great baseball matchup. It's a good football one, too, as Swan completes. McGowan, the freshman who scored earlier. It's freshman on freshman as Igbinosun stops his forward progress.
You thought there for a second, is McGowan going to be able to shake the first would-be tackler like he did on his near touchdown run after catch, and instead, Igbinosun did a great job of tackling in the open field. You know, the coaching staff for Ole Miss very high on their true freshmen in the defensive backfield.
Vandy has eclipsed 200 yards of total offense in the first half. Remember, they had 453 in this matchup last year. 3 tight ends set. Keep it on the ground with Davis. Shoots forward for a first down doors near the 10-yard line.
There's a lot of positive things to point to this Vanderbilt offense here in the first half, but none more so than the push they've established along the line of scrimmage in their ground game. That time, not just covering up defenders, but displacing the line of scrimmage. Move the line of scrimmage downfield. They came into this game averaging 2.5 yards per rush before contact. That means their running backs are untouched for the first 2.5 yards past the line of scrimmage. They're going to embellish on that so far with this performance.
Another heavy set on first down. This is Patrick Smith spelling Ray Davis as A.J. Finley comes in there on the tackle inside the 10.
We were talking with Joey Lynch, offensive coordinator for Vanderbilt, and he was saying, look, we're healthy at running back. We really like that room, maybe our most talented room on the entire team. They haven't been at full force. You know, Chase Gillespie, a true freshman, he's missed some time. Rocco Griffin, and Patrick Smith in here to help Ray Davis, who's been carrying the mail significantly so far here in the first half.
You see Joey Lynch, the OC, on the left side of your screen. up in the booth. 5 on the play clock. Smith's back in there, running back again. Swan fakes it to him, throws to Shepard, who had it in those big paws for a second, but could not squeeze it. Would have been his 8th touchdown of the year.
Had him top of the screen, slow off the line underneath Prince. Now you see that's a bad angle there underneath. Ultimately, Ole Miss, you could see, were breaking on this route. That easily could have been a pick going the other way. And coverage a little too deep was behind that route. And Will Shepard, because of it, had an opportunity with his hands on it. Here's Shepard down here, the bottom of your screen. You see Ole Miss running out there on the field.
Timeout, Ole Miss. We'll take it with them.
Ole Miss.
3rd and 7 coming up for Vanderbilt, leading by 3.
Auto Owners Insurance Halftime Report. Dorian Watson and Spikes with you. We'll show you how Tennessee rolled. Mississippi State did the same. Take you around the country. How about Vanderbilt? How about A.J. Swan? The offense looks efficient.
Yeah, I think that timeout might help his defense go home the top rushing attack with 3.6 yards of carry. Good job by Vanderbilt defense.
Glad I didn't take Ole Miss on our Saturday stud rushing company.
Okay, Dari, talking about A.J. Swan, he's been great, but Mike Wright is back in there at quarterback for Vanderbilt. We've seen this a couple times already. 14th play of the current drive coming up on 3rd down and 7. Wright keeps it. He's got speed, looking for the edge, dives inside the 5. He needed about the 2, so it'll bring up 4th down, decision time for Clark Lee.
Yeah, I had to be thinking they're going to go for it here on 4th down. Otherwise, I don't know why you have Mike Wright in there, right? Because you're not thinking pass. You're going to run the football, see if you can't pop one. Mike Wright stays in there. I don't see A.J. Swan back in the huddle. So he's on the sideline. Back-to-back snaps for the former starter in Mike Wright in here at quarterback.
Yep, there's Swan on the sideline, so here we go. 4th down and 2. Vanderbilt up by 3. And before they snap it, timeout, Commodores.
You could see Clark Lee working his way down to the head linesman. The idea there, I think, more than anything, is let's see what Ole Miss gives us. Send Mike Wright back out there one more time. It looks like they're likely going to kick a field goal now.
What would you do, Stinch?
Well, we saw earlier in this game, earlier today, right? You got LSU, Tennessee. You're facing a team that's scoring a ton of points, right, in Tennessee. LSU goes for it on 4th down. Similar part of the field, they come up empty, no points. You're looking at the way your defense has played so far in this game. I think I'd take the points. Now, it'd be one thing if this thing was, you got Ole Miss going up and down the field. They obviously don't pick up another possession, right? But the way Ole Miss has played offensively, it doesn't matter. Because Vanderbilt says, no, I don't care what you think, color guy. We're going to go for it on 4th down, and we're going to do it with Mike Wright in their quarterback. Now, he's a right-handed quarterback, so keep in mind, you've got run-pass option. They can move the pocket to this side of the field because they started on the left hash. Got Will Shepard up there on his own.
Let's see if Lee made the right call. Wright gives it to Davis, who walks in for a Vanderbilt touchdown. That was easy. Lane Kiffin and the swath of Ole Miss fans here at First Bank Stadium cannot believe it. 20-10 Vanderbilt after the extra point from Bulovas.
How about the doors? Mike Wright comes in there as a changeup, but it's been Ray Davis, and he finds himself in the end zone again. Commodores on top. Go back to that touchdown run. You got Mike Wright in there, and we're thinking, oh, maybe they moved the pocket, throw it. No, they're running it So watch what they end up doing. You've got a block inside on the linebacker, a reach. Watch the tight end, and that ends up influencing. See that conflict player in Cedric Johnson. He doesn't know whether or not to close. Nice read by Mike Wright.
Dayton Wade on the return for Ole Miss, and he finds some room and takes it outside of the 35-yard line. So Ole Miss, who lives in the 2-minute drill as it is, has a $1:24 with 2 timeouts left after the 38-yard return.
Really good field position to start this possession, and as you mentioned, plenty enough time. You know, they take the field every single time they have the ball offensively, does Ole Miss. And as you mentioned, they live in hurry up. In fact, that is kind of normal operating procedure for them.
Since Lane Kiffin arrived, they are the fastest offense in the country in terms of time between plays. The 1st and 10 line is brought to you by T-Mobile, and it's first down for Jackson Dart and company, and he uncorks it toward the right sideline looking for Malik Heath. Nothing doing there. B.J. Anderson on the coverage.
Oh, Nate Clifton, once again with the pressure, got a hit on Jackson Dart. He's able to win right now, working against the freshman, Jaden Williams, young player at left tackle. Dart did not get enough on that throw.
Dart throws on 2nd down. Time this time completes to Heath, who's running for the sideline to stop the clock, and does. Heady play from Malik Heath, who's a guy who the coaches told us had to get acquainted with this high-tempo system. There is a flag on the field just in between the hash marks, though.
And you could see Malik Heath, the side judge comes running up asking for the football after the reception near the boundary. Heath doesn't do it. He's going to throw it to that inside official so it can get spotted. Didn't matter, though. The flag on the ground stops play.
There is no foul on the play.
Maybe there should have been.
Yeah, looks like Michael Owusu
Result of the play is 3rd down.
got his hands up high. Malik Heath, though, he got it off there quickly. Anyway, regardless, the flag came out for something other reason. It ended up stopping play and the clock.
Third down and 1. They run it with Judkins. The true freshman is stood up. I don't know if he got it. They've got the spot with a 1st down.
Not by much, as you mentioned. You see, Vanderbilt has done a really good job on the ground so far in this game. A minute plus to play. The clock stopping with the change of the chains.
Dart to throw. Up the seam. Mingo is there. Brings it in inside the 5. Size, speed combination for one in white and red. And Ole Miss is set up now.
You see him right now, quick over the football inside the 5-yard line.
After the gain of 48, they keep it on the ground with Judkins, who has a nose for the end zone. 5 touchdowns in his freshman year already. DeRicky Wright on the stop that time. As the clock moves, 2 timeouts for Ole Miss.
You see him, watch them crash the line of scrimmage defensively.
Judkins again, he's going nowhere. Lassoed down by Kane Patterson.
Watch Kane Patterson. See him crash the line of scrimmage right now. They're not going to wait. There is no read. You've got that A gap, hit it. Ends up running right through Nick Broker. You see Broker, he's got a 3 technique, a D tackle line up on his outside shoulder, and he's just late coming off on Kane Patterson, who's got a 4-yard running start.
Timeout Ole Miss. They've got one more in this first half. Let's go back to how they got down here with a 48-yard connection, Dart to Mingo.
And they talked about Nick Howell. So here's Mingo. He's lined up outside. They knew he was the deep threat. Now watch DeRicky Wright. He checks up. That's one-on-one on the outside. And Tyson Russell, cornerback. This is a touchdown if that ball's out in front. Mingo ends up having to slow down for this throw from Jackson Dart. Regardless, was on target enough to make the completion to get Ole Miss into scoring position. But it's 3rd and goal from the 2 after a couple of runs on the inside, both of them stuffed by the Commodore defense.
Let's see what they do here. Jackson Dart is under center. Don't see this very often. Judkins gets the call right up the gut and scores. The true freshman is in the end zone again right before the first half ends. Quinshon Judkins leads the FBS among freshmen in rushing yards. Came in with over 500 on the season. It's his 6th touchdown in the last 4 games. Jonathan Cruz tacks on the extra point. 3-point game with 21 seconds left after a 7-play, 62-yard drive in just over a minute.
You know, one thing that you couldn't let happen going into half, we talked about the urgency, so watch this. See these guys? It's a full house backfield, guys. And what's this guy doing? He's under center. They ended up blowing up the left side of the line. Nick Broker pulls out. Really, the lead blocker doesn't do much. And Vanderbilt has an opportunity to make this play. You've got defenders around his legs. Jalen Mahoney in the backfield. Quinshon Judkins just runs through those would-be tackles. And Ole Miss with a much-needed score right before half.
Cinch, how about 89 J.J. Pegues in there, the Auburn transfer, who played a little tight end and H-back for the Tigers before transferring to his hometown school in Ole Miss.
Yeah, Pegues in there needs to work on his lead blocking. That time it was just kind of run towards where you should and hope it works out. Jalen Mahoney kind of submarined the block, had a chance to make the play. How about the big plays for Ole Miss, though? Keeping them in this game, really, when you think about it. One to Jordan Watkins. Now Jonathan Mingo showing up big in the passing game. Otherwise, it's been pretty pedestrian offensively here in the first half for the Rebels.
McGowan back to receive the kick from Cruz. The shifty freshman out near the 25 with 15 seconds left in the second quarter. We'll see what Clark Lee decides to do with 2 timeouts.
14 seconds. You think maybe you hit a run, see if one pops, and maybe take a shot after that. Perhaps. You don't want to do anything stupid before half.
Well, tonight wrap up week 6 with SEC football final. Dari Noka, Chris Doering, Benjamin Watson, Takeo Spikes take you through the biggest stories of the day. Break down all of the games. 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central after South Carolina, Kentucky right here on SEC Network and the ESPN app. Got plenty to talk about from Nashville. 20-17 Vanderbilt leads. Ray Davis, the running back, alongside A.J. Swan. They will give it to him and salt this clock away. Cedric Johnson made the tackle, and that'll do it for the second quarter. If you had this, congratulations. Vanderbilt leads at halftime against a top 10 Ole Miss team.
Yeah, nobody saw that coming. You know, a couple of really missed opportunities for Vanderbilt. Came away with only 2 field goals after being handed short fields. Coakley's got to be pleased.
He's with Alyssa.
Coach, what have you made of Ray Davis and how effective your ground game has been?
Well, it's been good, and I think it starts with our offensive line. They've played physically. They've opened up holes. Obviously, Ray's good enough to hit them, and proud of what we've done offensively to this point.
How would you evaluate the play of your defense?
You know, it's sporadic. I mean, obviously, it's, you know, we got to learn from that last play, the long throw. That's a situation where that can't happen, and you got young players out there, and we got to execute better. But you know, we'll recover. This is a resilient group. We'll get in there, regroup, and come back in the second half and play to our identity.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Alyssa, Coach Lee talks a lot about competitive resiliency. His team leads by 3 at halftime. And coming up at halftime, you could watch the live performance of Vanderbilt's The Spirit of the Gold on SEC Network Plus. Start streaming it now on the ESPN app. Hey, Dory, did anyone expect this in the studio? Vanderbilt leads by 3. All right, folks, not a typo. 20-17, Vanderbilt leads Ole Miss at home. Homecoming here in Nashville, and so far the home crowd enjoying what they've seen as the Commodores look for their first SEC win since 2019. Drew and Stinch back with you upstairs. Alyssa on the field. We'll check in with her in just a moment. And Stinch, how is Vanderbilt winning right now?
Well, you look at the field position, of course, and so far Vanderbilt's been able to take advantage of those. They got a couple of empty possessions for the Rebels as well. Stopped them on fourth down, got a takeaway. They've been able to take advantage of those, and defensively Vanderbilt has played pretty darn good football. Now, other than two big plays, Ole Miss has only got 85 yards of total offense, but Jordan Watkins took one to the house, and then Jonathan Mingo, right before halftime, catches the bomb to get them down to the 1 yard line. Ultimately, they punch it in, but Vanderbilt up front, they've controlled this game. The line of scrimmage by the offensive line of the Commodores has been excellent all first half. Ray Davis got going on the ground, and that was the difference in the game.
Let's check out our first half stats brought to you by Bear, and check out the bottom of your screen. Time of possession. Usually, Stinch, this isn't an issue for Ole Miss, but today is it?
Yeah, well, you look at the empty possessions, right? And ultimately, you got to get going. Other than those two explosives, they have not been able to sustain drives. Look at the rushing yards. Only 45 yards on the ground with one of the best rushing offenses in the country. Commodores playing excellent run defense.
Jaden McGowan receives the opening kick in the second half, and he's got wheels, and he's twisted down just near the 25-yard line. Moments ago, Alyssa with Coach Kiffin.
Coach, what was the message to your team at half?
You know, we've been on the other side of this, playing really well in the first half. Now we got to come out. We've screwed around, game and turnover, not played well on defense at all. So now we got a big challenge in front of us.
How do you generate more on the ground for your offense?
Well, we got to block them better and, also continue to throw the ball really well and accurate, and that'll change up what they're doing.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, Alyssa, headline from the first half in Oxford. Lane Kiffin, quote, "We've screwed around."
Yeah, well, and he's right. I mean, that's a pretty succinct way to get there, but that's certainly been accurate. And you look at the way that Vanderbilt's been able to control that first half largely, as the trainers tend to an injured Ole Miss Rebel ran down on that kickoff coverage team. Pat Jernigan and staff attending to him. You'll talk to coaches, as they mentioned, the most important elements of these games. It's the middle quarter, which of course doesn't exist, but it's how you end the second and begin the third.
That's Isaiah Woolard.
Good to see him get up and walk off on his own power there, but not putting a whole lot of weight. Looks like he's pretty gimpy. We'll keep an eye on and see if he's able to return in special teams. But how you close out the first half and how you start the second half. And can Vanderbilt pick up where they left off offensively? And of course, for Ole Miss, they have to find a way to be more effective on early downs. First, this Vanderbilt offense into third and obvious passing situations.
A.J. Swan, the true freshman quarterback, starts the second half by throwing short. Intended target was Jaden McGowan, freshman to freshman.
All right, so what do you do? If you're defensive coordinator Chris Partridge, how about edge pressure right out of the gate? Not going to mess around. Let's go ahead and see if you can't start affecting the passer. We talk about how aggressive they intended to be coming into this season. That's one of their measurables. Stop the game breaker. As you see, defensive coordinator Chris Partridge right there in the middle. The game breaker they identified as Will Shepard. I don't know that box would be checked. The others affect the passer. Certainly not checked so far in this game.
Almost didn't recognize Chris Partridge without his belly flopping around in the booth, as we've got pre-snap motion.
I think they'll get the defense.
Offside, defense, number 13, in the neutral zone, causing offensive player to react. 5-yard penalty, second down.
It goes on Ladarius Tennyson. There's Chris Partridge. Fascinating story. You heard a little bit of it last week during that win over Kentucky. A guy who was out of coaching for 3 years. Took over at a high school in New Jersey, where he's from North Jersey. Now the co-defensive coordinator for Ole Miss after DJ Durkin went to Texas A&M. Second down and 5 after the pre-snap penalty, and it's Ray Davis who finds a hole, hits it hard for a first down. Vanderbilt.
A heck of a cut by Ray Davis. And you see Ole Miss, they're leaning more and more downhill in their run defense. You see the linebackers crashing the line of scrimmage. Ray Davis sees light to the right side of the formation, just knifes through the line of scrimmage. We've seen Vanderbilt try to load up on play action. If they continue to have success in the ground game, you look to them to see if they can't hit a shot downfield with the Rebels getting nosier and nosier in run support.
Again, it's Davis approaching 20 carries for the afternoon. That'll go down as no gain as Tysheem Johnson, the safety, came down.
And that time, excellent job setting the edge. We've seen a couple of times, especially in the first 2 quarters, Vanderbilt was able to not only capture the edge, but collapse that side of the defensive front. Able to get downhill as a ball carrier. What they want defensively is to get penetration, make the ball carrier bubble his run, deviate from being able to run downfield and go sideways.
Davis again, his 19th carry of the game. There it is, has to bounce it outside. Solid gain on second down, but a flag comes in the backfield on that right side. For now, it's a gain of 6.
Holding, offense, number 66, 10-yard penalty, second down.
That's Jacob Brammer, the 5th-year senior, transfer from North Texas.
Yes, you can't have these, right? Watch Brammer, here he is on the edge. You got your guy locked up, he tries to separate. I don't know. I mean, I'm a former O-lineman, but I got to tell you, there wasn't a whole lot there.
How about that neck roll? That's vintage.
That's throwback.
I think we're playing NFL Blitz. Davis, the running back, they'll find him in the passing game. He is capable here, makes one-man miss, picks up all the yardage they lost on the penalty and then some. Finally forced out of bounds by Troy Brown after a gain of 11.
You know, coming into this game, Joey Lynch was talking about Ray Davis might be the best offensive player all around. He included as a receiver. Now you think about that for a second, because Jalen McGowan, pretty sporty. Will Shepard, one of the best in the conference. But Ray Davis came into this one, 12 catches for 84 yards. Looking for different ways to get him the football. He showed why with that run after the catch.
What'll Joey Lynch cook up here on 3rd down? They're 4 for 8 today as the play clock hits 3. Swan, the freshman, has to go. Davis pointed it out. They get the snap off, but a lot of confusion pre-snap leads to a timeout for the Commodores.
Timeout, Vanderbilt, their first half.
We'll step aside. 3rd down and 9 awaiting Vanderbilt 2.5 minutes into the 3rd quarter. Time now for Saturday Sounds, brought to you by Sonos.
Levis. Batted out of the air. It's a free ball. Jared Ivey knocked it out. What a reaction. Yep. Guy who was out of coaching, played at Lafayette College, and now he is one of the hottest assistants in the country.
Everybody loves Chris Partridge. Ole Miss's defense has been great. They face a 3rd down and 9 here against the Vandy offense. Ray Davis makes the catch, and the running back is brought down near the line of scrimmage. Again, Tysheem Johnson makes the tackle.
A heck of a play by Tysheem Johnson. You got Ray Davis out there by himself in space. As you see, number 2 a little bit shaken up after that play.
Walked right into the official.
Coming in high, Jared Ivey with the win, with a high hit on A.J. Swan as he released that ball.
Big East was in there as well. He got sandwiched like he was a piece of hot chicken over at Princess. That punt return is a short one for Ole Miss after a nice kick from Matthew Hayball, the Australian punter who's top 5 in the country in punting average. It'll set up Ole Miss inside the 20. Rebels offense back to work. Down by 3 in the 3rd quarter. Welcome back to First Bank Stadium in Nashville, and this is music to the ears of Vandy fans. 20-17, the Doors over the Rebs of Ole Miss, coming in as a top 10 team. 5-0 for the first time since 2014, fresh off a win over a top 10 Kentucky team last week. Drew Carter, Matt Stinchcomb, Melissa Lang back with you in Nashville as Jackson Dart and this Ole Miss offense try to rev the engine a little bit. It's been one of the best offenses in America since Lane Kiffin took over. This Vanderbilt defense has stood tall today. Dart with time, and he throws right sideline complete to Jordan Watkins again. The Louisville transfer who's been all over the map in this first half to move the chains after a gain of 17.
You know, it's been kind of a quiet year for Jordan Watkins. They were high on him in the spring, but so far today, heavily targeted, 4 catches, almost 100 yards.
Dart again, clean pocket, swings it to the running back, Zach Evans, who delivers some punishment against Michael Owusu, out of bounds after a strong gain on first down.
Positive yards. What they're looking for is to see if they can establish a rhythm, effectively a long handoff. You're looking downfield.
Here's the tempo as Dart throws again. That's Mingo around the left side. Tough to bring down. Takes a couple of doors as Jalen Mahoney finally pushes him out.
Wise to go low there on Jonathan Mingo. That's a big physical receiver at 6'2", 225 pounds. That time well defended on the quick throw.
Another quick pass to Mingo. Puts his foot in the ground, makes one man miss, and picks up another Ole Miss first down.
So you can see the emphasis right here in the second half. First half, you're trying to get the ground game going. It hasn't been there. So start getting it to your playmakers on the edges. Ask the Commodore defense to play in space and make tackles.
Dart keeps it. He is a threat with his legs and slides down on first down, and the Rebels are moving it now. But DeRicky Wright, 43 in black and gold, was down for a second. He's back up and gingerly jogs to the sideline.
You see he's going to be substituted out, as is Michael Owusu. They were not off the field in time.
Evans with a head of steam around the left side. No flag on the field that we can see. Now there is inside the 10 on this side.
Yeah, the field judge on the Vanderbilt side of the field had that flag out. Owusu and DeRicky Wright late getting off the field.
Illegal substitution defense, more than 11 players on the field at the time of the snap. That penalty's declined. Result of the play is first down.
And now another Commodore is down, Malik Langham, the D lineman, 5th-year senior. And they will take a timeout on the field.
Yeah, it looks like they're working on that hamstring. I almost wonder, got a little cramp going maybe, although it's not very warm here today in Nashville.
Monday at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, we'll have the next Thinking Out Loud with Spencer Hall and Richard Johnson. They'll break down the weekend on the gridiron, talk about the hottest topics for the coming week, and preview Saturday's biggest games. Right here on SEC Network and the ESPN app. Another great show on this here network is Out of Pocket with Alyssa Lang. Alyssa, what's coming up this week?
Oh, thank you guys. Yeah, myself and Andrea Carter coming your way every single Wednesday, 7 o'clock Eastern time. We recap the weekend that was, look ahead to next weekend. Let me just give you guys a little taste of what we had last week, coming off of the interview with Mike Leach. As many SEC fans have seen, we did SEC teams as wedding guests, so that's the kind of content you get.
I cannot wait. We got a little taste of that last night. Sounds great. As Evans around the left side sheds one tackle, makes another miss, and scores. Hello, Zach Evans. Rebels in front. "24-yard touchdown for the TCU transfer, who was an all-SEC selection coming into the year, his first in the conference. Quinshawn Judkins has stolen some of the spotlight in the backfield, but do not forget about 6.
We've seen the same concept a couple of times in the first half. It was well defended. This time, not so much. Great job blocking out front by Casey Kelly.
Jonathan Cruz adds the extra point. 4-point Ole Miss lead. Zach Evans back back in the end zone. Ole Miss has run in a couple today. And they lead just over 5 minutes into the third quarter. Zach Evans with a touchdown to make it 24-20 Ole Miss. Couple great looks from the pylon cam. Outstanding job by our crew here at First Bank Stadium in Nashville. Ole Miss leads for the first time since it was 3-zip. Came in as 3-score favorites against a Vanderbilt team that had not won a game in the SEC since 2019.
Certainly have had to show some resiliency, something that Lane Kiffin talked about, in other games where they've sprinted out to leads and needed to play better in the second half. It's the inverse so far here today.
Touchback after Jaden McGowan lets it bounce, and Stinch, let's go back to that touchdown by Evans.
Yeah, so we've seen this a couple of times. What they'll do is they'll pull these two linemen, and they end up with a lead blocker out here and Jonathan Mingo blocking this guy, and what they're going to do is read this defender. Watch him read that guy, gets wide. You get a block downfield by Casey Kelly, and then it's just Zach Evans. You got to make a play. Run through the would-be tackle of Maxwell Worship. End up in the end zone. What a great effort by Zach Evans. So far, the ground game has been relatively quiet for Ole Miss, but able to get him in the end zone here early in the third.
A.J. Swan, the freshman quarterback for Vanderbilt, swings it out to Will Shepard to threaten the open space, but he got blasted by A.J. Finley. 2 flags are on the field, though.
A.J. Finley came down there and got face-to-face with him, that's for sure. And the question is that has something to do with the tackle, or is it, as you see Will Shepard leaving the field kind of gingerly?
That's a bad sign.
Holding, offense, number 86. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
The tight end, Ben Bresnahan.
Wide receiver screens. You see Will Shepard helped on the sideline after that play, and a costly play to say the least. You concede the penalty yardage and the injury. So you see Bresnahan, he was trying to block Tennyson, and at the end, Finley came in with a very physical tackle, kind of rolled up from behind on Will Shepard.
That's what these Ole Miss safeties are known for, physicality. Here's Ray Davis up the middle on first down and long after the penalty. And let's hope Will Shepard is okay, because he's one of the best players in the SEC.
No argument. And you could tell, I mean, even in speaking with the Rebel defensive staff, we're talking about just how talented Will Shepard really is. I've seen him get in the ball a variety of ways, as you see it. Yes, Bresnahan, not only with the penalty, but also injuring his teammate as he rolled over that would-be block, ended up holding Tennyson, and Shepard gets bent backwards by A.J. Finley. Clean tackle. Ugly play for the Commodores.
Play clock at 3. They've had to burn 1 timeout already in this third quarter as Swan takes the snap, and he swings it out to Davis. That might be a backward pass. Tennyson has it for Ole Miss at the 5-yard line. Let's check the ruling. I think that's going to be Ole Miss ball on a fumble, and it is.
Yeah.
First real mistake from the freshman quarterback, Stinch.
The ruling on the field is a backwards pass that was recovered by the defense. First down, Ole Miss.
And he had Gavin Schoenwald all alone to the left side of the formation. Safety valve, drop it out to him. Said watch him, he's locked in. Ray Davis, he's in there trying to protect, but clearly a backwards pass. Look where Swan is and where that ball is, the trajectory of that ball is heading back to the 10-yard line.
That might be close.
It's flatter than I thought. You're right.
Get out your protractor and let's check the degree on that pass.
You know, that the camera angle that was more upfield, it made it look as if where Swan was standing, that ball was heading backwards. And you think about, was that the Music City Miracle right on that kickoff return?
Still a controversial call to this day, 20 years later.
Look at Swan. You see Schoenwald. Look, number 10 down here. He's by himself instead.
Yeah, so Swan standing at the 11. The ball bounces near like the 10.5-yard line or so.
Yeah.
And the call on the field is important here because it's so close.
Well, he's a right-handed quarterback, right? So he's standing on the 11. His arm would be upfield in that regard. And so is it a flat pass or is it a backwards pass? It's not where Ray Davis is. It's where that football goes.
And it's where it was going too before he touched it.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be tough to overturn.
Yeah, I don't know how. We mentioned this earlier. Where that ball lands, it looks like it's inside the 11-yard line.
Stan Murray is our replay official today. Surprising to see Ray Davis not realize the situation there. He's a senior. The coaches were telling us yesterday he's one of the sharpest players on the team. He'll text Joey Lynch, the offensive coordinator, late at night with some ideas for plays to implement, but that time he just did not realize that was going to be a fumble.
Yeah,
like.
and part of this, right, you talk about affecting the passer. So Ole Miss bringing the pressure. Ray Davis was over there to the right side trying to help in pass protection. Affects the decision making. And pressure is more than just physically there, moving you off the point. Making that quarterback speed up their thinking. Well, that would include Ray Davis in this instance. Did not think to jump on that football as if it were a live ball.
And credit Ladarius Tennyson too. He realized it right away, hopped on it, and as of now has set Ole Miss up with 1st and goal at the 6. Here's Kyle Olson.
After video review, the ruling on the field of a backwards pass stands. It'll be 1st and goal at the 6-yard line.
That's a new thing this year for officials. They're not messing around with stands versus confirmed. They just say stands, and I think this one fits because that was close.
Yeah, a lot closer when we looked at the second and third looks. Regardless, give up a long drive. Look at Lane Kiffin. He's like, hey, yeah. That's a call we needed. And of course, Vanderbilt, an inauspicious start, to say the least, here in the third quarter after playing pretty well the first 2.
Mingo, the motion man. Judkins, the running back, who gets the call, and the freshman goes right into the house. Touchdown, Ole Miss. Judkins, 2nd of the afternoon, 8th of his true freshman season.
Nick Broker right here. Watch him. Does a good job of collapsing that side. Anthony Orji didn't even have his eyes in the backfield pre-snap.
Jonathan Cruz adds the PAT, and just like that, Ole Miss leads by double figures. Quinshon Judkins flexing a little bit. He has been one of the stars of the SEC in the first half of this season.
Breakout star, right? I mean, this is a guy that is living up. I'm not going to say the hype. I mean, the hype is before you get to college. This was after he got on campus. The coaches were talking about him. This guy, he's ahead of the curve. And it's not just physically, mentally. They're saying he's a pro's pro. It's the way he approaches the game. And that has been manifested in the production that they've gotten out of number 4 in their backfield. Got this thing going. Capitalize on the short field. The defense that was not playing very well in the first half has gotten a stop and now a turnover here in the second half.
Charlie Weiss Jr., the offensive coordinator, told us it's easy to see where he gets that maturity when you talk to his mom, Miss Tiva. Quinshon Judkins doesn't act like a freshman or play like one, and they're celebrating on that Rebels sideline. Is that a fire extinguisher?
I feel like it is. Yeah, it is. They had that thing going a second ago.
Haven't seen that before. Cruz's kick, end over end to McGowan. A flag is on the field back at the 35. We'll check on that when we get back. For now, let's go to the studio and Dari.
Drew, thank you much. Time for a studio update brought to you by Arby's. And how about a little Stetson Bennett history? The longest run of his career. Season opening, and he takes the opening 64 yards to the house for the Georgia QB. 28-3. Dogs are rolling early in the fourth, guys.
All right, Dari, I think they will time that on a sundial. That 64-yard touchdown run. What do you think he was at? 14, 15 MPH there, partner?
That guy runs a 4.640, champ. Don't let the smooth taste you.
There's Will Shepherd. Helmet is off as Vanderbilt takes over. They start at the 30 after the flag was an offside against Ole Miss before the kick. So we'll see if 14 returns to the game. Arguably their best offensive player. Patrick Smith, the running back, next to A.J. Swan. They give it to him right up the middle for a short gain on first down.
Vanderbilt needs to find a way to slow this game down. They did a great job of it in the first half, not only maintaining possessions, but converting first downs. And this here in the second half, things have kind of accelerated. Not only did Ole Miss come out tempo offense, move it down the field, but then a short field, and now you find yourself trailing quickly.
Approaching the midway point of the third quarter on 2nd and 7. Swan floats it left sideline, broken up. The freshman Davison Igbinosun is in there against Gamarion Carter to set up third down.
Excellent coverage all the way. Just really not much of an opportunity, really. I've seen him targeted a couple of different times, but watch Igbinosun. See him tracking, gets his head back around, plays that football, actually had a better shot at it. Potentially come up with a turnover. Ultimately, you see Will Shepherd back in the lineup now for the Commodores on a really important third down. They got to find a way to maintain possession of this football.
3 on the timer. They get it off on 3rd and 7. Swan feeling the heat, throws off his back foot, complete. The tight end Ben Bresnahan has a first down, but a flag is down in the backfield after a gain of 23. Massive call at this point of the game.
Holding, offense, number 77. 10-yard penalty, third down.
Junior Uzibu, the senior out of Atlanta.
Watch him here, working against Cedric Johnson, probably the best true pass rusher that Ole Miss has up front. Gets edged, and he just kind of opens up the gate, grabbing the back of his jersey. You know, if you're going to hold, go ahead and hold and keep him off your quarterback. Instead, a low hit on A.J. Swan.
That's a tough assignment, one-on-one against Cedric Johnson, the guy who's on Bruce Feldman's freaks list over on The Athletic, one of the most athletic players in the league. 3rd and 17 for Swan. Set it up for McGowan, who makes a couple of Rebels miss, but he's tripped up. Great play by Kyrie Coleman, the transfer from TCU, who's back after injury, just saved a first down.
Yeah, I haven't called his name much today. They needed to get him back into the lineup. And McGowan, he did really good work right there just to pick up the yardage that he did. You know, penalties here in the second half, especially offensively for Vanderbilt. Digging holes, getting behind in the down and distance. They have not been able to stay on schedule.
Coleman didn't play the last 2 weeks. Chris Partridge said about 20 to 25 snaps for him. As Matthew Hayball, the outstanding Aussie punter, is back out there and sends it just inside the 30-yard line, where Ole Miss will start after the fair catch by Mingo. Here's a quick message from our friends at Academy Sports.
Wherever fun happens, Academy Sports and Outdoors is there.
Jackson Dart leads Ole Miss back on the field. They took a 24-20 lead early in the second half. Before that, they hadn't led since it was 3-0. Dart, ever since he threw that interception in the first half, has been dynamite.
You see where he makes the bad decision in the first half, had to find a way to bounce back. They gave him a couple of easy throws horizontally. Now a shot downfield.
He lets it rip, and Mingo's behind the defense. Goodbye, Jonathan Mingo. Touchdown, Rebels. 71 yards. And in the blink of an eye, Vanderbilt's homecoming has turned from a celebration for the Commodores to the lane train locomotive chugging. Cruz adds the extra point. 18-point lead for Ole Miss. They trailed entering the third quarter.
Life moves pretty fast, especially in the SEC when you're facing a team like Ole Miss. Pretty well designed right here, so they're going to kind of bluff. Watch Mingo right here. Watch him kind of bluff upfield like he might block. So he just kind of eases off, like I'm going to block this edge guy, and see him looking inside, and then he turns it on. You do just enough, lull the safety to sleep, and then break downfield. Now, you know, in old school days, that would be like the hidden ball play. The fake play action, you kind of hide it on your hip. DeRicky Wright gets caught with his eyes in the backfield. Jonathan Mingo, the deep threat that the Commodores were so worried about, he's cost them big time. Think about right there in the second half, and then again here in the third.
Nick Howell, their defensive coordinator, said, got to be aware of one. He is big and fast. And we saw it there. Jackson Dart and this Ole Miss offense, their last two drives. One play 6 yards in 4 seconds. One play 71 yards in 10 seconds. They have blown this thing open in the third quarter.
How many fire extinguishers do you think they have over there?
Not enough to cool down this offense. Fair catch. Vandy will start at the 25. Let's go back to the studio.
All right, guys, certainly some news coming out of Kentucky because that guy walking with a boot on his left foot is Will Levis. The foot injury going to keep him out of tonight's game. Redshirt freshman Kaya Sharon, Kentucky native, going to make his first career start for Big Blue against South Carolina on the SEC Network.
Hey.
All right, Dory, that game just became a whole lot more interesting, Stitch.
Yes, it did, because you're talking about a Kentucky team a week ago could have come away with the win. As you see the difference in halves, man, it's been impressive for Ole Miss.
Ray Davis on first down, a short gain for Vanderbilt to start this new drive. Alyssa, what you got?
It's going to be an interesting matchup, I think, tonight, guys. I got to see South Carolina a little over a week ago, Thursday night game against South Carolina State. And obviously, that's a team that has a ton of playmakers, right? But what I am going to be focused on tonight is how Shane Beamer's squad performs in the trenches, a question that we rarely have about Kentucky's team. Obviously, a big reason why they've had so much success this year. Stinch, what do you think we see up front from those guys?
Yeah, you know, Kentucky's got to be better up front. Obviously, you know, last week had a hard time keeping Levis clean. Gave up a safety. You see Mike Wright in here, a quarterback.
Look out. McGowan lost it for a second after the jet sweep was bottled up. They're back inside their own 20. A.J. Finley was the first man there. It's a loss of 9 as Vandy recovers.
How about the difference in halves? We showed the offense. What about this Ole Miss defense? Trying to get the ball to McGowan on the edge. Not well blocked. Oh, really, Tysheem Johnson got upfield. Lucky he got that football back. That's what I'm talking about with the penetration. Make the ball carrier, whoever it is, doesn't matter if it's a fly sweep or a handoff, make them bubble their course to the line of scrimmage, lose ground, or go horizontally. Really well defended by the Rebels.
Mike Wright is still in there in an obvious passing situation, but they'll keep it on the ground with Ray Davis, who bursts forward to about the 20. It'll set up another 4th down, and the punting unit returns. J.J. Pegues and Tavius Robinson in there on the tackle for the Rebs.
You know, we saw A.J. Swan earlier in this game. He was kind of holding his left elbow. He's taking some shots here in the second half as well. And Mike Wright to be in there. And as you mentioned, long yardage scenario, you'd think an obvious passing down. A.J. Swan's got his helmet on over there on the sideline. Was not in there for that series.
Something to keep an eye on down the stretch here. As Hayball's back out. The FAU transfer got blasted in the backfield. Does not matter what happens on this return by Mingo as 2 flags are down right by Hayball, who in a way has been Vandy's most valuable player this year. Trip White, 30 in white and red, was in there, and he will be the guilty party.
Personal foul, roughing the kicker, defense, number 30, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic first down.
Did you see the smile on our referee Kyle Olson's face? Like, there's no way he thought he was going to get away with that, right?
Pretty obvious one here. And, you know, Ole Miss, they've been close to a couple of these other kicks. It's taken a while to get the ball off. They came after this one. Hard to deny that one,
yeah,
when you're laying on top of the punt.
He almost delicately laid him down on the turf.
Here
though.
you go. Whoops. You see Lane Kiffin sitting there going, look, we're getting the ball back. Instead, you give them a first down and a half, and A.J. Swan back in there now at quarterback. Kind of an interesting series on that previous, well, I guess continued possession.
And Swan throws. Shepard, lots of contact. Still no laundry on the field as DeAndre Prince was pretty physical. Shepard was chirping at the Ole Miss sideline, too.
It looked to me like Prince had his arm all the way across Shepard.
Are you allowed to do that, Stinch?
Not before the ball gets there.
They miss one there.
I think they've allowed a lot of physical play, but I think that one should have drawn a flag.
2 running backs flanking Swan. Patrick Smith got the fake, and Davis gets the pass, trying to find a little wiggle room on the outside. Ushered out of bounds by Tysheem Johnson. Another 3rd down and long coming up.
Prince coming up as well. Ole Miss doing a better job, especially in their perimeter defense. Vanderbilt has not had as much success inside out in the ground game, trying to get the ball out onto the edges. That time very well defended by the Rebel defense.
A.J. Swan, who came in with the 2nd best passer rating among freshman quarterbacks in FBS, behind only Drake May of North Carolina, faces 3rd down here. And he throws off the back foot, broken up again by Prince. That one looked clean all over Shepard.
Prince matched up with Will Shepard. We said this was going to be a marriage all afternoon. Watch Shepard come into your screen. And you got Prince had his left hand underneath the left arm. That ball's behind the receiver. And Prince really had a better chance at that ball than Shepard did. Swan had that ball well behind his intended target.
Prince shutting down Shepard, hoping to hear what it sounds like when doors cry. As Hayball kicks it away, a high punt. Watkins calls for the fair catch right near the 26-yard line. This Ole Miss offense has been a well-oiled machine in the 3rd quarter. Again, folks, if you're just joining us, Vanderbilt led at halftime. They had their first lead over a top 10 team since 2020 against Florida. Did not win that game. They haven't won an SEC game in 22 tries since 2019 against Mizzou. The 1st and 10 line is brought to you by T-Mobile as the Rebels start just outside their own 25. Zach Evans, the running back. Michael Trigg, the tight end, the motion man. Dart gives it to Evans, and he finds a seam. Evans near the 45. They'll move the chains, and they'll move the offense quickly.
Nice block there on the edge. We talked about Vanderbilt capturing the edge in the first half. That time, Nick Broker, Jaden Williams, great job denting the Commodore front.
After a gain of 17, they sweep it to Watkins, and watch how Watkins hands the ball to the official here just outside the hash mark, so he spots it himself that time.
Then the center judge picks it up because he's like, hey man, that's my job.
Took it back maybe 3 inches. On 2nd and 9, Dart fakes the give, throws to Trigg, and the best friends connect inside the 30. USC transfer to USC transfer. DeRicky Wright on the coverage, first down Rebs.
And Trigg, such a huge catch radius, and boy, he used a lot of it on that. That's a fingertips catch. Matched up with the safety and DeRicky Wright. As you see the center judge coming in there and make sure that Vanderbilt gets a chance to sub, and you see Trigg kind of landed on that right shoulder.
Yeah, we'll check on him. He is a weapon in this Ole Miss passing game. Evans, the running back, they give it to him, and he is wrestled down by Anthony Orji, came flying in off the edge.
They've been talking about they got to get Michael Trigg going a little bit in the passing game. Releases downfield. Look at those fingertips catch. Palming it, really. But then he landed on that right shoulder, on the point of his shoulder.
Dart with time. Now he escapes, and he finds some room. Spins and gets crunched at the first down marker. Kane Patterson, the Clemson transfer, put him in the dirt.
A great play, though, by Dart. You know, this is another opportunity to run it. Nate Clifton ends up getting upfield once again. The escapability of Dart. You know, defensively, you got to come up with the tackle for negative yards. Instead, Dart does a great job. Tuck and run, pick up positive yards, set up a 3rd and short. He took a shot at the end of that one.
Dart loves Anakin Skywalker. That time, Kane Patterson had the high ground. 3rd down and 1 for Dart and Ole Miss. Quick throw complete. Watkins again. He's been everywhere. First down Rebs.
You see Jalen Mahoney a little bit frustrated after that one. As you mentioned, Watkins has been a steady drumbeat for this offense all game long. If you could point to any contributor, it would probably be Watkins, who's been there through the entirety of the game.
Dart will throw again. Floats it up, and where was that going? DeRicky Wright says, look what I found. The second time Vanderbilt has intercepted Dart today, and some life is back here at First Bank Stadium.
So you see with the ride, he got a little bit of pressure in his face, and it looked as if he was intending to get it to Malik Heath. He's falling backwards.
Just held onto it too long, kind of yanked it.
It did kind of look like he wanted to put a string on that one, right? DeRicky Wright, who's kind of struggled here in the second half, was beaten earlier, gave up the big catch to Michael Trigg, able to come up with a huge drive-stopping turnover in the red zone.
How about DeRicky Wright, who was once committed to Ole Miss? Against the Rebels, he's got 2 picks today. Vanderbilt starts on its own 5. Ray Davis gets the carry on first down. That could be the last play of the 3rd quarter. We'll see what the Doors do here.
And not a ton of urgency. It looks as if they'll seek to let this run. If you're Vanderbilt, boy, you couldn't have gotten a turnover at a better time. Game getting away from you. You're leading by 3 to start the second half. Now you're trailing by 18. It's been a marched drive down the field, touchdown, short field, touchdown, bomb, touchdown.
That drive could have easily been the dagger for Ole Miss, but Vanderbilt is still alive as we go to the 4th quarter. Vanderbilt led this game at halftime. Ole Miss, after a 21-0 3rd quarter, leads by 18. As we take you to the 4th, Drew Carter, Matt Stinchcomb, Melissa Lang back with you at First Bank Stadium in Nashville. That man Jackson Dart has been rock solid aside from 2 throws today. Between his 2 interceptions, he was 12 of 13 for 264 and 2 touchdowns. But he just threw a pick to DeRicky Wright. He's intercepted both. And Vanderbilt starts the 4th quarter with the ball. Ray Davis on the carry. Down near first down yardage. Needed about the 15. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
To get Vanderbilt an opportunity to kind of stabilize this half. Now, obviously, you're outside of a 2-possession game, staring at 3 possessions now. But if nothing else, on a 3rd and short, get a conversion, possess the ball, give your defense a chance to come up for air, because that takeaway was to stop another drive.
A.J. Swan gives it back to Davis, has enough for a first down. But Stinch, at what point here do they have to start going tempo down by 3 scores?
Yeah, and that's the book has been throughout this game. As you mentioned a couple of times, they're going to get a timeout. It's largely because they've allowed that shot clock to wind down, trying to limit the possessions of Ole Miss. But because you forfeited the ball, right, you get a quick possession, turn the football over, negative in your own territory, minus territory. At this point, when you're digging out of a hole, you can't get too far away from what you're capable of doing. At the same time, some sense of urgency. Plenty of time yet.
Will Shepard in motion, play clock at 1. They snap it. Swan looks that way, gets it to Patrick Smith, the running back, on the swing pass. And he is brought down by Tysheem Johnson and Austin Keys together after a gain of 8 on first down.
Maybe looking for a little bit more that time. We talked about it early. You know, running the football tends to open up shots downfield. Vanderbilt hasn't really been able to do that. They've had a couple of 50-50 balls, but otherwise have not been able to stretch this Ole Miss Rebel defense vertically in the passing game.
In the first half, they scored on all 4 drives. Field goal, touchdown, field goal, touchdown. Second half, punt, fumble, punt, punt. Swan gives it back to Smith. Made 1 cut, and he's got another first down doors as A.J. Finley, the safety, makes another tackle.
You can see why the Commodore coaching staff likes these backs. You know, Smith getting in there now. Spelled Ray Davis in the first half as well. An opportunity to keep him fresh. But this is their comfort zone, right? You get successful first down plays. Second down, you've got options. Moving the sticks.
Now, Ray Davis has touched it 27 times today, so good for him to get a break as they give it right back to Smith. And again, Finley is there from his safety position. And Vanderbilt content to keep it on the ground here as the clock keeps moving.
See, a 12:20 to play, right? So you're talking about a 3-possession game down 18. The challenge is you're not built to go wide open. Let's just go spread, empty, hurry up. Not something that they've typically done. They've used tempo at times. As you see Mike Wright now in there at quarterback.
Here's a guy who can get you an explosive play in a hurry. He keeps it on the option, pitches it back to Jaden McGowan, who lets a couple of Rebels fly by and picks up positive yardage. DeAndre Prince finally brought him down, but it's 3rd down and 7.
They're really well defended. And that play largely made by Trey Washington, who came up, forced the decision.
Injured Rebel is Cedric Johnson. Right near that Vanderbilt sideline. 3rd down and 6 coming up for Vandy. On the ropes after they led at halftime. Welcome back to Nashville, where it's homecoming for Vanderbilt, and it started really well in the first 30 minutes, led by 3 at halftime against number 9 Ole Miss. A 21-0 third quarter for the Rebels later, 38-20 early in this fourth quarter. A.J. Swan back in there at quarterback for Vandy, the freshman out of White, Georgia. Ray Davis, the running back, to his left. Swan throws the slant to Will Shepard, who makes the catch, bounces off a tackle, and he is dangerous with the ball in his hands. Takes it into Ole Miss territory where Jared Ivey finally stops him.
A conversion and more. Would-be tackle runs right through it. Physical receiver. Guy's got a ton of competitive spirit. You know, that's why they need him on the field as much as they possibly can. They were without his services there for a little bit. Was attended to on the sideline, got up a little bit gimpy. He definitely looks like he's full speed now.
7 receiving touchdowns this year. Tops in the SEC, second in America. Swan throws again, completes again. Quincy Skinner, welcome back after he missed a couple of games. Makes the catch on first down.
That ball a little bit off target. Skinner having to go to the ground to come up with a reception. Otherwise, you put that ball on the receiver, he's got a chance to turn and run upfield. See Dennison coming down. Rick Benosin, rather. You can turn and run on a defensive back who's turning and charging on you. Instead, he ended up just having to secure the catch.
2 running backs, one of whom is Ray Davis, who gets the call. Picks his way forward near the line to gain. There is a flag on the field. Looks like it'll be a holding against the Commodores.
Holding, offense, number 4. 10-yard penalty, second down.
And the two running backs set. The other guy gets popped for the hold, Patrick Smith.
Yeah, and Patrick Smith, as you mentioned, is a two-back. Patrick Smith splitting the backfield with Ray Davis. So watch Smith. He's going to end up over here blocking the edge. But as Ray Davis, who kind of bounces this backside, watch 95. See that? As soon as you turn the defender's shoulder, that's Tavius Robinson, it's an easy call. Good call by the official. Can't get your hands outside.
Second down and 14 now. Shepard with another catch. Not close to the line to gain, though. Ashani Sistrunk in there on the stop.
I mean, it compliments to the Ole Miss offense here in the second half, but multiple holding penalties here to start the third quarter, now well into the fourth. This second half for Vanderbilt has been marred by penalties on the offensive side of the ball.
After such a clean start, too.
Yeah.
Ole Miss had 5 or 6 penalties before Vandy had 1. Under 10 minutes to play now. They picked up a couple third downs on this drive. Swan to throw. Right side, Davis. The running back has another catch, and he barrels forward. Troy Brown, the Central Michigan transfer, couldn't stop him right away, but eventually they do to bring up fourth down.
A great job after the catch, but the difficulty is that Vanderbilt just had nothing downfield all game. You know, we've seen a lot of throws to the flats. Backs trying to make yards after the catch. Just have not been able to get loose or behind the defense of Ole Miss. And here you are right now on fourth down saying, look, we got to give ourselves a chance at this one. Will Shepard's up here among this bunch. He's the outside receiver of those 3.
Fourth down and 4. Doors needed. Shepard is there. Complete. First down, Vanderbilt. Swan to Shepard again. They move the sticks and keep this thing alive. Trey Washington on the tackle.
Effectively just kind of clear it out. It's almost like a screen. You know, that point receiver, they're running straight upfield. It's really just to make sure Will Shepard gets a clean release to get underneath on that route.
Swan has hit 7 passes in a row. Motion man is Davis, the running back. They fake it to Smith, the other running back, and Swan uncorks one for the end zone. Gamorion Carter had it for a split second and nearly brought it down on the tip drill.
You said it, he had him for a moment. This ball hangs a little bit. And because of that, Miles battled just enough time to play across the face of Carter. Carter trying to dive for that ball. You see that. We haven't seen a ton downfield. There's your downfield throw. Ball hangs too long, and Miles Battle able to recover.
Think early contact there, partner?
We've seen him. We've allowed him to play all game. I'm all right with the no call there.
Here's Jaden McGowan, the shifty freshman out of South Carolina. Tysheem Johnson with the tackle. And again, it's third down for Vanderbilt.
You see Vanderbilt, this is where they've had their successes. It's been the short passing game. Jay Swan has checked it down multiple times. Makes sense to get the ball out to their playmakers. And at the same time, as we mentioned earlier, you can't become something that you aren't. But the clock is ticking away from you, and you've had a hard time stopping this Ole Miss Rebel offense here in the second half.
Stinch, this is a nice drive, but we're midway through the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but the clock is also your enemy.
Swan wants to throw again. Up the seam. Shepard can't haul it in. DeAndre Prince following him as he has been all afternoon, sets up another fourth down.
It's an errant pass on that one. Will Shepard is inside Prince. That ball has to be out in front and inside. Instead, it was deep and outside Will Shepard. That's into the coverage.
Now, this is interesting because they are in Bulovis's range. This would be a sub 50-yard field goal, and they're down by 3 scores. A field goal would make it a 15-point game. You see Bulovis warming up, but they're going for it again.
Similar formation to the earlier third down with Shepard up there in the bunch.
They need it again. Swan throws. Smith catches, and he is stuffed. Troy Brown's in there first. Turnover on downs, and that might ice it for the Rebels.
How about Troy Brown? Great diagnosis, great play to get the ball back to his offense. Just as good as a turnover, and the Rebels are cooking again with the ball.
Coming up at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central after we finish up here, Vandy and Ole Miss. Number 13 Kentucky missing Will Levis out tonight against South Carolina in our SEC Saturday night matchup. It's also available on the ESPN app. And speaking of Will Levis, Ole Miss coming off a win over Kentucky, who was number 7 coming into Oxford. They had some extra motivation, as Chris Partridge told us during the week, because everyone's heard it at this point about how Will Levis, hey, could he be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft? Could he be maybe the best quarterback in the SEC, which would be saying a lot. But Ole Miss got after him. The Land Sharks smelled some blood in the water last week. They're still unbeaten, and they're trying to put the finishing touches on a win here over Vandy. As Jonathan Mingo breaks free, and he might be gone. Mingo has scored 1 long touchdown today. Make it 2. Put this thing on ice. 72-yard touchdown, Rebels. That is their 3rd one-play drive of the game. A short rushing touchdown for Quinshon Judkins and 2 70-plus yard touchdown receptions for Jonathan Mingo. Jonathan Cruz adds the extra point. 45-20. Ole Miss, as the offense is overwhelming. Their 3rd one-play touchdown in the last 4 possessions. They lead this game by 25.
The Jonathan Mingo show finds himself in the end zone once again, and watch the influence. They have a couple of pullers right here. All this is a screen, and it's going to pull the entire defense this way. You end up leaving just 2 defenders to block Mingo, and you got 2 blockers for those guys. Anthony Orji, number 0, watch him. He can make a play. Nope. Nice stiff arm by Jonathan Mingo. We talked about how big and physical he is. He's fast on top of that.
McGowan on the return for Vanderbilt. Near the 25, he is brought down. What a game for Jonathan Mingo. 8 catches, 238 yards, 2 touchdowns. He is the Saturday MVP, brought to you by Sport Clips.
You know, a breakout game for a known commodity, really. You know, coming into this game, I'm going to say only 13 receptions. But when you think a number of new faces in this offense, that he would have been the central part of the offense, not so much coming into this game. But boy, he's going to come out of this game as the biggest game breaker. Just multiple shots to him downfield, and even the short passes go the distance.
Ray Davis around the right side, tight ropes the sideline on first down. A.J. Finley again on the tackle, pushing him out of bounds. Mingo's last 2 receptions, Stinch, have gone for 71 yards and 72 yards, both to the house.
Yeah, that's a pretty good average. Get him the ball. I think, this, did you see Troy Brown? You see maybe a little bit of a stinger holding that arm.
We'll step aside as they check on Troy Brown, the star linebacker, with Ole Miss up 25. Not a bad day for Jonathan Mingo, the 3rd Ole Miss receiver with 230 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns in a game. He has also tied Elijah Moore's single-game program record with 238 receiving yards in a game, which Elijah Moore did at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, it makes sense. Reminiscent.
Good memories for Vandy fans here at Vanderbilt Stadium as the Commodores keep it on the ground. with Ray Davis, who has been busy today. 25 carries along with 4 catches. He has been outstanding, near 100 yards on the ground plus a touchdown. One of the bright spots for the Commodores in a game they again led at halftime, which is hard to remember at this point.
Yeah, that does seem like a distant memory. I mean, obviously the way they ended the second and the way they started the third changed the trajectory of this entire game. They were largely in control of that first half. And it was Jonathan Mingo that swung the momentum back to the Ole Miss Rebels.
35 unanswered points for Ole Miss as Davis stays on his feet, lowers the shoulder, and that guy is running hard no matter the score or the time, picks up a first down.
He's impressive. I've been really impressed with Ray Davis. I've been impressed really with the Vanderbilt offensive front. You know, they've won more than they've lost. In fact, they've won the lion's share. Had some bad penalties here in the second half. Have dug some holes. But they definitely asserted themselves in this game.
New running back for Vandy is Rocco Griffin, junior out of Georgia. Davis gets a well-deserved breather. Swan keeps it on the play fake, and he throws to a wide-open Jaden McGowan down the right sideline inside the 30 of Ole Miss. Miles Battle ushered him out of bounds.
All right, so there's your downfield throw. You run off a heavy play action. McGowan just kind of leaks downfield. You see Vanderbilt, not a ton of urgency after the big play. Maybe a tempo opportunity. Instead, find themselves in the huddle once again.
After the gain of 34, first down and 10. Still Griffin in the backfield with Swan. They fake it to him and complete. Gamarion Carter dragging Rebels inside the 10.
About Carter in this game. 5 targets prior to that one. A guy that may continue to emerge as this season unfolds. He gets beyond just McGowan and Shepard in the perimeter.
Yeah, 1 catch for 7 yards coming in this whole season, 3 for 35 today. Coming up on 4 minutes in the 4th. Swan again with the play fake, throws the fade. Shepard is there, says, "Give me that." Touchdown, Vandy. He went up and over Miles Battle for his 8th touchdown of the season. Looks like the offense is staying out there for Vanderbilt to make this a 17-point lead if they convert.
You see Ray Davis. You see him down here signaling. He's out of the backfield.
Davis in motion, fake the jet sweep to him. Swan on the rollout, floats it. Bresnahan, the tight end, that's caught. 2-point conversion, good. Vandy cuts it to 17 with 4 minutes to play.
Still a 3-possession game. It gives them an opportunity here in the second. Watch Shepard high point this football. It actually ended up splitting his hands. He ended up trapping it, I think, for a second against his face mask.
Whatever works.
How about those looks?
That's money.
And the 2-point conversion. Bresnahan in the back of the end zone. And the Doors with some fight. Got down the field relatively quickly. You got to think, now it's still going to take 3 possessions. And they're lining up as if they were just going to kick it downfield. You got to be thinking, do you attempt to steal a possession right back with 4 minutes to play? And they absolutely are.
Remember, Clark Lee opted to go for it. It would have been about a 46, 47-yard field goal earlier in this 4th quarter. Bulovis to set up the onside kick. J.J. Pegues falls on it. All 315 pounds of number 89, the Auburn transfer.
He swallowed that thing up, man. The ball just got immersed. Big Joker. A little hydrostatic tension kept it in his belly.
Nice.
Otherwise, that would have slipped right out of there.
It's just what I was thinking,
Yeah,
Stinch.
yeah, everyone at home was. It's the hydrostatic tension that kept it in there.
Right.
Not a very well executed onside kick. That ball didn't have much of a chance. It was a dribbler to Pegues.
Well, at halftime, Vanderbilt fans might have been thinking, we are winning this game. That did not come to fruition as Ole Miss scored 35 points in a row, and Vanderbilt just scored and hit the two-point conversion to cut the deficit to 17, which might matter to some, as Quinshawn Judkins gets the call on first down, and Ole Miss, which they don't do often, is going to go to the 4-minute drill and try to kill this clock. How about the time of possession? This was before the drive started. 21-5.
Yeah. Well, as you mentioned in the first half, time of possession doesn't often tell the story for Ole Miss. But the difference was in the first half, they just weren't scoring points, empty possessions, and giving the ball back. Different story here in the second.
On the sweep, it's J.J. Henry who gets stacked up near the line of scrimmage. Ole Miss with 3 one-play touchdown drives. So time of possession, not really a factor for them when you can pop plays like that. 2 of them 70-plus yards, both to Jonathan Mingo.
Yeah, that definitely hurts your time of possession, right? Nobody cares. Score the points. The hard part was, and where Vanderbilt was winning in the first 2 quarters, is they were limiting possessions and then, of course, emptying possessions. As you hear,
is it Tommy Trumpet's in the house?
Is it Tommy? Yeah, Tommy in here playing the old trumpet.
I think that's become the Braves' new official theme song after they ended up winning the division.
Yeah, since they beat the Mets, it's theirs now.
Yeah. Jackson Dart completes. Malik Heath, the Mississippi State transfer, out of bounds about 2 yards short of the first down. Anthony Orji in there on the tackle. Top tackler in the SEC, over 10 per game, and Ole Miss, if they convert here, it looks like they're keeping the offense out there, can continue to salt this game away. Lane Kiffin has been the most aggressive coach in the country on 4th down since he got to Oxford. They lead the country coming into this week with 90 attempts on 4th down since 2020.
It's been a little bit more conservative this year. You know, coming into this game, they only had the 8 attempts. You know, Vandy even had more attempts on 4th than the Rebels had.
Quinshawn Judkins gets the call, finds a sliver of space, and this is danger for any opponent. Inside the 15, he finished the run against Jeremy Lucien. First down, Rebels.
Made it look easy. Yeah, this is a team that's not scared to run the football, although it has not been nearly as consistent in this game. Keeps defenses off balance.
Did stop the clock when he went out of bounds under 2 minutes. You know, Lane Kiffin didn't really seem all that concerned when he talked with Alyssa at halftime.
Yeah, more disappointed, right, than anything else.
There's Mingo, and there's the record. Jonathan Mingo has set a new Ole Miss mark for most receiving yards in a single game, as he is above 238, the previous record held by Elijah Moore.
He certainly did it with a flair for the dramatic in this one. That was not a quiet, broken record. I mean, this guy, he's been electric this afternoon here in Nashville.
Here's Kincaid Dent. Might be wondering, why are we not seeing Luke Altmaier? Well, potential for Altmaier to maybe redshirt as Jackson Dart has won the starting job. Dent keeps it on the ground. Inside the 5 for the Rebels.
Shy of the first down there on the inside run. Still pick up a first and not punch it in. As you see, they milk down the play clock.
That was Matt Jones on the carry. Hey, Tommy Trumpet's back.
Yeah, he's doing great work. I don't get it, but whatever.
3rd down and 2. Dent gives to Jones, sifts his way forward, dives for pay dirt. They mark him down inside the 1, which all things considered might be better for Ole Miss as they can just knee it out under 40.
You see the clock continues to run. Yeah, definitely. Watch his knee down shy of the goal line, it looks like. Wow, and Ole Miss hurrying up to get a play off.
Oh, man, they want to run it up. Jones in for the touchdown. It's a 50-burger for the Rebs. The freshman out of Jackson, Mississippi, scores for Ole Miss. First touchdown of his career. That's cool to see.
Yeah, unless you're this guy. You're sitting there going, oh, he could knee it out.
What do you think is going through his head right now?
He's not real thrilled. Can't be thrilled with the second half performance. I don't know if it'll amount to much. See Clark Lee, and he mentioned it. You know, you just can't give up the big play right there at the end in the second quarter, as you see his teammates celebrating with Jones. Able to punch it in there late. Of course, Ole Miss, after kind of slopping their way through the first half, disappointed Lane Kiffin at halftime, and they turned on the afterburners here in the final 2 quarters.
Jackson Dart, aside from a couple of interceptions, was tremendous today. 25 of 32 for 448 yards and 3 touchdowns. A couple of blemishes, though, the 2 picks. Mingo with a new single-game Ole Miss record, 9 catches for 247 and 2 touchdowns, both 70-plus yards.
You know, Vanderbilt, they said, you know, we've got to get better play at corner. Certainly a challenge versus Ole Miss. They were largely able to avoid the big play there in the first half before leaking there in the final 2 possessions, and then just the dam broke in the 3rd quarter.
You see Mingo there. Earlier this year on The Season, documentary series Ole Miss is putting out, defensive backs coach Sam Carter was telling Davison Igbinosun, hey, you're going up against a first-rounder every day in practice. I kind of stopped in my tracks. First-rounder, Jonathan Mingo, really? But today he looks like it, and they put some good wide receivers in the NFL this school recently. A.J. Brown wore number 1. Laquan Treadwell wore 1. Mingo's wearing it now. Elijah Moore, DK Metcalf. And they've got some good ones now.
A lot of weapons in this offense. And Jonathan Mingo, as we mentioned, a relatively quiet year, despite the fact that he was second only to Malik Heath in receptions. But it's been a more run-oriented offense. Well, not today. Today it was the passing game that provided the spark.
Rocco Griffin on the carry. The clock is stopped, and now it runs.
Yeah. And you can see even the Ole Miss defenders are going, hey, what's going on?
Let's check out this handshake between Lane Kiffin and Clark Lee after that late touchdown. Ole Miss trailed at halftime. They scored 35 straight. They end up winning this game big. 52-28, the final on homecoming here in Nashville. Let's go down to Alyssa.
Coach, let's start with your offense. How did you think they responded in the second half?
Really good, the team did. So, I mean, whatever that makes. I'm not great at math, but we gave up 8. And so 42-8 since 1 minute left in the second quarter is pretty good.
What changed defensively in the second half for them to apply more pressure?
We just really did a really good job in the third quarter, got a turnover, and started having some balance there on offense.
Looked like you and Clark Lee were talking coming off. What did you say to him? What was that moment?
I just want to make sure he knew that there was a difference in play clock. We had to snap a ball there, or we wouldn't have.
There were some things that you wanted to see from your quarterback, Jackson Dart, today. Playmaking, trying to make the big play, knowing when to do that. How would you evaluate his performance?
Well, he had 2 horrible plays, as we know. He's got to stop doing that. But other than that, he had some really good plays and made some big plays in the game. And Mingo, I think, broke the school record receiving. So, we got a road win, and we got to go get better.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks.
All right, Alyssa, Lane Kiffin telling it like it is. A couple of horrible plays from Jackson Dart, but aside from that, he's great. 448, 3 touchdowns. And let's go back down to Alyssa with Mingo.
All right, Jonathan Mingo, you now hold the record for Ole Miss career receiving yards in a single game. What does that mean to you?
That's crazy. I didn't know that. I think Elijah broke it here 2 years ago, so it's kind of crazy breaking this record. It's definitely somebody I looked up to and talked to a lot, so it's just a blessing to have that record.
You guys got off to a little bit of a slow start in the first half. What did you say at halftime? What changed?
We was hurting ourselves. We had to play all 4 quarters, so we was in the hole for the first time for this year. So coach told us to come out and finish the half strong. We finished better. And next week we got a tough Auburn team we got to play, so we got to play all 4 quarters.
Congratulations, Jonathan. Thanks.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, Alyssa, great stuff. What a game from Jonathan Mingo and Ole Miss offense in the second half. They win 52-28. That'll do it for us from Nashville. For the entire crew, Alyssa Lang, Matt Stinchcomb, I'm Drew Carter saying so long from the Music City. Let's get you back to studio with Daria and the gang.